Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados, live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Got a fantastic show. We've had big happenings in the world of comic books, led by the Diamond Comics Bankruptcy, but we got a few other things happening on the peripherals that we'll get to. And we have a first in Thinking Critical YouTube Comics Aficionados ever. Aaron, you showed up, and I was like, I wonder when Aaron's going to show up. You're like, I'm here.
I am, yeah. No, apparently everybody thought that that Doomface was going to be doing the show. I'm up at the cabin, and I don't have a lighting rig or anything, and it is way too dark, even with the lights on in here. It just was picking me up as a black shape, so it looked like I was in the witness protection program. So I was just like, all right.
So you put green face paint on and disguise yourself as a green screen.
I've started a new performance troupe called Green Man Group. So,
Yes.
like Charlie on Always Sunny, I'm in the Green Man costume right now, so you can't see me. Much like John Cena.
Nailed it. Aaron, you should have just been in the dark and distorted your microphone, so you sounded like one of those interviewers.
Let me give you some insider information.
Like you release some info on Diamond, and you're hiding out in the cabin.
That's right.
So Steve Harvey doesn't find you.
He said,
so Aaron is here, but he's like kind of creeping on us.
Well, just assume that I'm like talk right now. I'm off camera, and it's just my symbol that's up, but my symbol just happens to be the Roquefort cover for Kneel Before Doomface, which is still available for purchase.
And there's still a link in the video description if you'd like to go check it out.
Hell yeah.
So, Aaron, how is the retreat going? Like, you've decided to remove yourself from society, go to a cabin in the woods. What's the worst could happen, right?
Well, see, I was really smart before I came up here. I was like, let me prepare myself for all the things that could happen by listening to a bunch of YouTube scary stories about people being in the woods. So I really got myself nice and paranoid before I came up here. And so yesterday I went for a little bit of a hike. Didn't see any Bigfoot, which was disappointing. Didn't even really see a lot of wildlife. I mean, saw some rabbits and that was, and some squirrels, and that was about it.
You're in the mountains during the winter.
Yeah, not much up there. But I was thinking maybe I'd see a moose or something. Come on.
They got moose in Northern California? Or I guess you're not in Northern California, you're up in like Washington.
Yeah, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest. So my dad's had moose come by the cabin before. And so
I remember the first time I saw a moose in Alaska, I was quite shocked at just how big they are.
You really interpret them in your brain as smaller, and then when you see them, you're like, oh my god, that thing is massive.
I'm not a short man, and my head went up to like its shoulder.
Yeah, like, and that might not even have been one of the biggest examples. Yeah, that's like when you see people go try to pet them or go try to pet a wild bison, and you're like, you're about to get messed up.
Yeah. Actually, moose are pretty dangerous, and in some respects, more dangerous than bears because moose don't scare off easily, while bears kind of do.
Mm-hmm. And even deer. Like, you shouldn't even mess with deer because I think most of us have probably seen that video of the deer going to drink water, and it's got another deer's head mounted on its antlers because they got into a fight and it ended up tearing its head clean off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. Or you've seen the video of the guy sends his little kid over to the deer, and the deer just rears up and kicks that kid right in the chest.
Man, so this is off topic. Well, I guess it's on top of what Aaron's talking about. So where my brother lives in Kansas City, the neighborhood, like the road is kind of up, and then you go down the bank, and then there's a bunch of wooden fences. And I guess his neighbor had grabbed his kids and his wife, and they had gone on vacation. And a deer had jumped over from the road over the fence and then had thought, I guess, the back door, which was closed, was open. So it ran through there, shattered the glass, and then rampaged throughout his house. And when he arrived, it looked like a murder scene had happened because obviously the deer had cut itself on the glass and everything. And then he eventually figured out that there was a dead deer in his backyard, and they kind of pieced it together. Kind of weird, huh?
They pierced the deer together like Frankenstein style?
No. They pieced the story together. He literally thought somebody was got into his house and someone had been murdered. And then they finally figured out, no, it was this deer that died in the yard that apparently jumped through the pane of glass and rampaged the entire house.
Beautiful creatures, but God, they are rock stupid.
They're absolutely. So I'm glad that your retreat is going well. Are you eating s'mores? Did you bring cabin food? What's the food situation?
Oh no, I just I brought a lot of food.
Arby's?
A lot of Arby's just to piss off Perch. Reheated Arby's, nothing like
five
that.
for $5 on the roast beef.
No, I just brought a bunch of food. I've been cooking, and it's been nice. It's been very pleasant. I have spent a lot of time on Twitter because it is very time does move very slowly.
Otherwise, you're just being bored, and you did a lot of writing.
Yeah, I think we were joking that John Turturro was going to show up and be like, "You took my story." Be like, "Doomface was your story?"
That wouldn't be a good thing. But I would like to say, I'm glad that you're safe and everything, but I can't see you. There's a decent chance that John Turturro is behind you with a gun or something.
Yeah, this is an AI.
Being like, be normal.
Aaron Sparrow AI. What is Sully showing off there? Now I got it. Now
Really?
you gotta go to Sully because I gotta know what he's showing off.
Ham and cheese croissant and a big old chocolate chip cookie. You know what I mean?
Did you earn that chocolate chip cookie? Did you do your chores?
Every bite. I did actually. I just cleaned the bathroom. I'm expecting company.
Clean the
tomorrow.
bathroom. You earned the cookie.
Thank you.
So how you doing, Sully? Everything going all right in Boston?
I'm wicked pissa and everything. We're battening down the hatches here in Boston, Massachusetts, expecting a nor'easter. It's that the nor'easter is a great combination of high gale winds, rain, snow, sleet, and shitty traffic.
That sounds like a lot of ice. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I got steaks, I got wings. I'm gonna hunker down, and on top of it, tomorrow I'm moving. So we're gonna the snow hits about 1 p.m. So we're gonna try to cram it all in the morning. 2 trips.
I thought you already moved.
Yeah.
I just have some stuff. I think all my movies, all my books, all my comic books, all these short boxes of comics, because I switched over from long boxes to short boxes because the older I get, the heavier those long boxes get. So a couple of years, last year, I took the entire year and I made content out of it too. I just went through every single book, and bagged, boarded, and reboxed everything. It was great. It was a good experience.
Well, very nice. Did you make it to your comic book shop? Have you found a new home?
I did. Yeah, I have New England Comics of Quincy, Massachusetts. Your favorite, the paper bag. What's in the bag? We'll find out at the end of the show.
Very nice. So everything's going well. I hope you do
going
well during the storm. So I've read a lot. I've met a lot of pretentious chefs, and you are a chef, to where they think like a flank steak is as good as a ribeye. What kind of steak did you get?
I like. I go for price point and quality. So they have usually more the ribeye. Spectrum. I don't go for flank steaks. I don't go for like skirt steaks. We have something in Massachusetts called the steak tip, and it was just a clever ruse done by
tip.
Yeah, it was it's kind of sometimes it's stew meat, and they sear it, and they think oh wow, they got steak tips at the restaurant. It's wicked pissa, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Just pay the $5 more and get yourself a ribeye, kid. I mean, it's just a better, experience. A friend of mine whose wife works for the USDA as an inspector she's like, what is this steak tip thing y'all are going on about? And I'm like, dude, yeah.
It's the leftovers that you can cut into hunks.
Yeah, exactly. It would be better if you slow braise them for at a low temperature for a few hours and throw them in your chili.
Yeah.
My dad used to say that steak tips are for the R words that can't cut their own steak. So
steak tips are for suckers. That's what a chef told me that a couple of years ago. But and I was like, yeah, steak tips are for suckers, and that's why I sell them. It's like, oh, really?
Well, very nice. We've also got the man of the hour, Uel Carter from Fantastic Comics. We've had a lot of things happening in the world of the comic business, and I think you're going to be very luminary on. And I'm glad that you were able to make it this week, dude.
I hope to. Thank you very much. You may call me Master.
Oh, no.
Master!
Actually, I was thinking, I was really hoping Jim was going to be here because I wanted to tell him how sorry it was that he was going to be banned from Philadelphia Eagle games. If you know what I'm talking about, anybody out there?
Wait, what? Did he get into a fist fight?
Did he lose his job calling a woman? I'm not going to say anything.
Jim almost died this week.
Fans. Pardon?
Shocking.
Jim almost died this week.
I mean, don't we call that Tuesday?
Oh, really? Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So he was up in the attic recording. He was doing his work on, I think it was Saturday, and his son is like remodeling the house, and there was a problem with the heater, and the problem was so severe that the guy that was remodeling grabbed the youngest son. Was like, "We can't be here. Grab your dog." And he told the other son, "You need to get out of here. This is really dangerous. Grab your dog. Go to your girlfriend's house." And they all vacated the house for 8 hours, and they forgot to tell Jim. And he kept
Almost.
working through it, and eventually, like he said, his eyes were on fire, and it felt like he was inhaling plastic. He was like, "What the hell's going on?" And he went downstairs, and the entire like house was full of soot and everything. And he calls up his son. He's like, "What's going on here, man? Like the house full of soot." He's like, "The house is so dangerous. We had to get out of there. You know, something happened with the heater." He goes, "But I'm here." They're like, "We left 8 hours ago."
It's like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer gets stuck inside when they're fumigating.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So he barely made it, but thankfully he's all right. But he is not feeling well.
That family is trying to kill him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
Well,
the
it seems that
neighbors
way.
are trying to kill him. He's doing all the stuff he does on his own, and then his family is not. They're the Bob's Burger family. They're just trying to like get this guy done. You know,
There's another story where he fell down the stairs, and at his age, and our age, because a lot of us are older gentlemen.
you know
On
what?
this fatal, a fall in the stairs could break a hip. You could really hurt yourself. And I guess he's like lying at the base of the stairs, prone, and everybody in the house has heard this fall. And his kids come up, and instead of asking him if he's okay, they start like recording him. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna put this on TikTok."
Just
You know,
start
gonna go
poking him
viral.
with a stick.
Yeah, they just started
they
like
better get that up
high-fiving
by
each other
Sunday.
and taking pictures. And that's a Tuesday for Chip, unfortunately.
All right.
He's just he's got that luck.
No wonder he cussed at that person. I can't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it.
They deserved it. Jim can't hold it back. So how are things going out in Fantastic Comics in Berkeley? Everything good?
Pretty well. Yeah, I had a pretty busy week already. I mean, just a couple days in, and a lot of new people, some visitors, but yeah, it was pretty fun. I actually helped someone that came up from Southern California because of the fires, and they were just picking up some comics they weren't able to pick up, so I made sure to give them a discount. I didn't say
Very
anything
nice.
though, but today I did.
How did the Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum do? Were people interested in that?
I'm really pushing Green Lantern hard. I recently did a read through the last few issues so I could get caught up for this issue. And I like Jeremy Adams a lot. His Flash Gordon's doing well for me, but DC Comics,
Unless it's
unless it's
absolute.
something special, and I know this is gonna don't make this a thing, but unless it's like a Tom King comic book or a Batman comic or an Absolute comic, there's no real reason to pick up some of the other ones unless it's like specifically targeting someone. You
There's
know,
no reason
cover
to
of
pick
the
up a Tom
month.
King book unless you're
Yeah.
retarded.
Exactly.
Did you read Jenny
Well,
Sparks this week?
Yes.
No, I don't read that.
I did.
Characters that don't have anything to do with continuity. I mean, you guys have heard this before. What If, Elseworlds, Absolute. What did I say? What If? Jenny
Yeah.
Sparks, a Tom King comic book. It doesn't matter.
The What If Galactus stuff is moving?
Yeah, it sells well. People like Galactus in my store, and I bought enough of them to have them on the shelf. I have What Ifs from the prior one, the Dark or whatever it was called, and then there's the What If Disney ones, and I have a little section down. So I have my new comic rack, and then down below there's all these slots, and I keep them up longer than normal. Not dance slots though.
Mm.
No. Those
The dance
have to go away. Those are
Yeah,
well,
I
those
have to
are
keep
still
them up,
sitting there
actually. I'm just
from
praying they'll pick
2017.
those Fantastic Four up finally.
Very nice.
Are they doing
Well, I'm
the
glad
ad?
you got some
Slott,
new customers.
Slott is coming.
I'm only hearing about this like yesterday. I think when Wes sent the stuff.
Let's be honest. Slott is not coming. Slott is being driven over
Slott
in
is
a hover round.
that's probably got some. I don't want to say it. I can't
Validity to
do
it?
that, saying that this early.
That would require him being able to move, travel
Goodness.
under his own power.
As long as he can move some comics. I don't know about himself, but some
Wait,
comics would be fine.
I'm sorry, sir. I regret to inform you, it's Dan Slott. He doesn't move comics.
Well, the thing is that are we going to talk about him later?
We'll get to it eventually, but you can hit it
I
now.
won't say
You never
anything
know.
now. It's go to somebody else. Hey, everybody! Fantastic Comics is a YouTube channel too. All right,
Absolutely. There's a link in the video description. You guys should all check it out. It's all very, very fun. And I'm glad everything's going well, Uel. And I'm glad you got some customers and were able to help some people out in Southern California. And that was really awesome of you. We've also got Josh McDonald from Popeye Culture. How you doing, Josh?
Doing well, man. I'm redecorating right now, so staying pretty busy.
So you basically dropped off the face of the earth for like a month and a half, and now we can't get rid of you. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I wish you would have followed up and asked me what I'm redecorating, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, nice one.
redecorating?
Missing that cue.
Well, I'm redoing my yard, my garden. So I bought this really nice antique clawfoot tub. I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm gonna try to find a nanny or a babysitter to hire to watch my dog.
So I'm not gay and I'm not old enough to care about
Speaking as a gay man, right?
warrior lawn. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but you're
It's
gonna get
all
your
right.
dog
It's
a
fine.
nanny, an au pair.
it's Neil Gaiman, man. The clawfoot tub in the garden.
Yeah, the clawfoot tub in the garden. Would you like me to draw you a bath?
Would you like me to draw you a bath?
I got it. It was a good one, Josh.
I
I
like
get
it.
you.
It was
Thanks,
subtle.
I tried.
Harassment, absolutely nothing to me. I only touched it for a few moments.
That
I said
bathtub
on
was
Twitter-
so small. I mean,
I said
that thing. Oh, I'm gonna come join you. There's not enough space in here for two people. Give me a break. Dude, I'll stretch out. Well, I am stretched
Listen,
out.
who
I'm
among
out
us
of my
hasn't
fucking bathtub.
hasn't taken a bath with an employee that we've just hired?
Wes is like, Jesus Christ, guys, we're not even 20 minutes in, and you've already completely derailed. Like, I screw this.
I thought it was going to
No,
be like
I'm
a
good. I'm actually
jacuzzi or
trying to
something,
do
something
something. I'm
outside with
happy.
some stones. It was going to look nice. You're going to make
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah, I haven't read the full article. We talked about it last night on Max's show, and he was reading pieces, and I was having an absolute conniption for multiple reasons. But if you haven't read it, I will. If you have thick skin, I guess go read it. But it's interesting.
I would
Everyone
read it.
looks
It's rough.
everyone
I
looks
couldn't
bad.
finish it.
Everyone looks awful.
I couldn't finish it at all.
Yeah. But Aaron, I want to know why are you trying to channel your inner Tom? What the
My
fuck
inner
is that one's
Tom?
name? Yeah, the Australian Tom, the weirdo that went into a cabin to write.
Oh, I don't know. Well, look, I just had the opportunity to come up.
Tom
and visit my
Taylor,
dad
that
and,
asshole.
Oh, Tom
that
Taylor.
asshat.
Yeah. So anyway,
I
listen.
thought he was doing an
I'm-
Aaron Rodgers where he went into his dark place. Remember his
Perhaps that too.
dark retreat?
So if I come back and I'm wearing a Newsies
Tangle?
cap and with a smug potato faced smile, and all I want to do is change your beloved characters to try to get myself a GLAAD award and get into screenwriting in Hollywood, you'll know something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, I'll just be like, bro, what happened to your chin?
I
No,
was saying though, Josh, when Neil Gaiman tries to make his inevitable comeback, I don't think that Tub Thumpin' should be the song. That
Oh, I get fall down. I get up again. You're never gonna break me down.
All right, so you said you had a joke. What's your big joke?
It was the harassment joke. Yes,
It was a harassment joke. Yeah,
that was it.
it was
You
all.
already did it?
Yeah,
It was the
I
tub.
missed it.
he
Yeah.
came and went like Neil. But I'm pumped.
Only if you flogged. Only if you flogged, man.
Oh man.
Oh man.
It's like everything is so horrible you can't help but laugh because otherwise you'll just like, what can you do? Like you just have to be like, oh, this is so gross.
That was rough. It's like when you read it, you need to bleach your eyes when you're done reading it.
Oh, you
You're like,
looked like you felt so oily reading that, Wes. You looked like you were so upset. Like I felt bad for you trying to get through that.
Yeah.
Well, you need to address it, and I was like, I don't want to do the specifics, but I was like, oh god,
Yeah, it's a 50 Shades of Wrong.
yeah.
My favorite part was when the kid did it. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
Oh,
you call me master. Oh my god, that's
Like,
great.
oh boy,
Just beautiful.
there you
I
go.
mean, he should have seen the error of his ways then. He's, oh, I repent. And he gets down and flogs himself again. Anyway.
It's like this week, I've got a little beef going on with the security guards at my kid's school, and they pissed me off. And I might have yelled at them that they were just rent-a-cops and they needed to like leave me alone. And then I read that article. I was like, oh shit, my kids are going to be calling these security guards rent-a-cops and getting themselves in trouble. God. You know, obviously it's not on Neil Gaiman's level, but I don't need them fucking acting like me, you know?
Your wife's gonna come home and go, did you know that your oldest son just called the security guard at school Paul Blart? Where would he have heard that?
Yeah, he told the rent-a-cop to go fuck himself. You're like, I don't know where you heard that. That is wrong. That's all I know. Not my my proudest moment. I think we've introduced everyone, but Doc, you probably have like a crease in your face. You just got out of bed. Normally,
Nah, man, I
what
showered.
happened? You were out at the club?
No, you know what? Last night, my girlfriend and I were watching movies
I don't
and
need to hear
completely
this.
lost track of time. No, it was just like we were
You're watching.
we're
Addams
watching
Family.
all the Underworld movies for some
Well,
inexplicable
ain't nothing
reason.
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong there.
yeah. Look, gay Kate Beckinsale. I'll still watch. It's
I know.
okay.
Kate
Yeah.
Beckinsale in latex and leather. Who's going to complain?
Mhm.
And yeah, we were watching those and didn't realize it was like 3 in the fucking morning. I haven't been up until 3 in the morning for like 10 years at this point, except for whatever like travel. So yeah, no, and then I just completely passed out, woke up at like 9:15, 9:30, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like 2 hours late.
Yeah,
And
we were supposed to have already recorded something, but it's fine. We'll knock it out tomorrow. It'll be fun. I'm already ahead of the schedule.
all
I
right.
got a big
so-
Kansas City Chiefs game, so that's what my mind's going on.
Hey,
Should
I
be
don't
fun.
have a Steeler game because
No,
my
no,
Tomlin
you guys
sucks.
lost. Man, pop sequentialism says you ran out of tokens because you was at the. I'm assuming that's an arcade, or maybe it's a sex arcade.
I think he means the sex arcade, the private viewing booths. Although I don't know how those are actually run. I thought they were actually run by quarters. I don't know.
I've never been to one. I'm not sure.
Neither have I. That's why I'm saying I don't know. I mean, I assume that they just kind of, because every time I've driven past them, it says like 25 cents. And I'm like, okay, I guess they use quarters. It's just my
Maybe.
assumption.
All right, everything
I'm
all
a
right?
I'm a degenerate, but I'm not that much of a degenerate. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Very nice.
so that's it.
Yeah, I don't like what Neil Gaiman did, but I'm not a prude. You know?
You guys are the worst. Let's talk about the newest members of the Think Critical family. Really appreciate the new backers on Patreon. If you want to be a backer as well and be part of the family, there's a link in the video description. You get a superhero name, you get a city protect, you get a little bit of shout out, and you get an awesome podcast. Welcome to the family, E. Johnson, aka the Electric Titan himself, the protector of energy planes, and welcome back, the Wanderer of Patreon, aka Journey, protector of Odyssey City. Really appreciate that, guys. Glad that you're part of the team. Hope you're enjoying everything. And as I said, there's a link in the video description if you're interested in that as well. We've got some people also wanting to talk about stuff. Matthew Ledbetter. Aaron, have you read any of the Paul Dini Hush sequels?
I have not. I actually didn't. Somehow I missed those. I didn't know that those existed. But
How about
was he
Josh?
able to
You're a
actually make
Batman
Hush
guy.
interesting?
Yeah, I've read some of them because I feel like for Heart of Hush for sure, and I feel like there was something else, but it's been a while. I feel like I remember really liking some of the Bruce Selena aspects quite a bit, but then there's the whole weird thing that Thomas has plastic surgery to look like Bruce, and yeah.
So was it the plot that was supposed to be in Arkham Knight, and then when they decided that they weren't going to have Paul Dini write the third game, that all got cut and just like truncated down to a lame side mission?
I have no idea.
So
I'll
it's
bet you that it is.
House of Hush and then Streets of Gotham, The House of Hush. I guess is the sequel.
Yeah, I think it was Heart of Hush and then Streets of
Heart of
Gotham,
Hush,
House of Hush. And I think Streets of Gotham is the one where they did the plastic surgery. That one was a little.
Would you recommend them?
Again, it's been about 10 years since I've read those. I feel like Heart
Dustin
of Hush
Nguyen?
I enjoyed. Yeah, no, Dustin, the art's great. I think it was one of those things where there was a point in time where it felt like Hush kept getting mandated, and there towards the end it was like, okay, I think we can give him a rest now. Just
Stop trying to make Hush happen. It's never going to happen.
Very nice. A Calb says, I had my first experience with this week of what happens when you show little evidence and facts of the tolerant left. Willful ignorance. Man, it sounds like you and Aaron are like kindred spirits. He's always out there
What are you talking
arguing. Well, you said you were on Twitter all week. I see that stuff. It shows up in my
but
feed.
I'm not arguing. I'm a hit and run Twitter user. I post it and then I fire and forget, man.
Oh, there you go.
Plus, nobody
You like
argues
messing
with
with
me.
those guys?
Nobody really argues with me. So either I'm
try
right.
I
or-
try to, but you don't really bite, you know.
Oh, really?
I tried to talk yesterday too, and he didn't care.
You're too subtle then.
Uel is feisty, dude. Watch out.
Mhm.
Well, he's all fucking hyped up because the Dodgers signed that Japanese player.
You got it, baby. We were talking about it earlier. In
As
chat.
if he needed another W.
I'm not going to argue that. Also, I wouldn't want to argue with Uel. I love Uel. I don't want to fight with Uel.
I like arguing. It's fun.
It is fun.
Next up, he says, do you think Pedro Pascal is a curse because he always plays a beta male being bullied by a woman? Because I know what will happen to him in The Last of Us 2. Is that
I
what
think-
it is, Josh? Is it the Pedro Pascal curse?
I mean, look, part of the reason he comes across as a beta male is because he's a homosexual. But you know, I mean,
Well,
Is
the
this
other,
a video
Ian
game we're
McKellen
talking
doesn't come
about?
off as a beta male. He's fucking alpha, and he's homosexual.
yeah, but he's Ian McKellen.
Well,
Yeah.
Is this a video game we're talking about?
No. The
Look, Hugh Jackman's
show.
been playing Wolverine for years, and he's gay.
Yeah, he's probably bi.
but
The-
no, look. I mean, Pedro Pascal. I kind of look at him the same as the guy that played Poe, Damron. What the fuck
Oscar
is his-
Isaac?
Oscar Isaac. Perfectly
Oh, I think
competent.
Oscar Isaac is much manlier than Pedro Pascal.
A little bit, but perfectly competent actor that has the worst, absolute worst choice of roles. He picks the worst roles ever. Whereas Pedro Pascal, he does too because he can't play that role.
what are you talking about? He was in Narcos. That was a great role. He was in Game of Thrones. Absolutely standout role. One of the more memorable characters.
Yeah,
Some really good
Oscar
roles,
Isaac.
actually.
And Oscar Isaac was Duke Leto Atreides. That was awesome.
And he was in what
my
was that? Deus Ex Machina or Ex Machina?
Oh, Ex
Where he's
Machina
all
movie
drunk and
sucked.
nailing robots. That was great.
Really?
That is the worst movie I've ever watched.
that's
Next
fair.
to Everything Else Is Dead.
That's a good film.
I got
It is
to
a
break.
very-
I got to break with Doc on this one.
That's
enjoyed
fine.
Ex Machina.
That
Yeah.
Ex Machina and Bringing Out the Dead are the two movies that I think are a blight on cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pop sequentialism says Tom Hardy knows his way around a sausage and he's not beta. What the hell are you talking about, Josh? Why are you fucking trying to pigeonhole gay dudes as actors?
Yeah, look, hey, I'm saying, especially in the past like 5 years or so, there's been a difference about back in the day. You know, if you had a gay guy playing a
Mike
masculine
Brady.
role,
Totally
it
alpha.
was like, let's be masculine. Now they're like, no, it's okay if you're a little effeminate.
I
It's
remember there
almost
was
like
a story. Oh, forget it. Never mind.
What was that?
I said I remember there was a story about Leguizamo after he did Tu Wong Fu,
Yeah,
and he's like, "I need the butchest role you got.
yeah.
I'll do anything. I gotta be butch." Some people,
Jagrod 2. So Steve Jeppy just got choke slammed and tombstone by a 1991 Undertaker, then rolled in the casket and told to rest in peace. This made Wes laugh. I don't know if I'm
forget the
laughing
dirt
at the
that was
situation.
put on top, right?
Yeah, it
It
was
was a buried alive
Can I-
match.
bag.
What it was.
Yul, can I follow up and say that John Leguizamo couldn't be Butch if he was wearing Birkenstocks and driving a Subaru?
Are you talking about a Judd Winnick story? Because that was a villain in a Green Arrow.
I
At
get
least the Birkenstock bit.
I like Leguizamo and Chef. He was good. That was a good role.
I
think
liked
the
him in
only-
Super Mario Brothers.
He was in the. Was he the one in the menu? Is that what it was called? The menu. That was a pretty good movie. He's
He
in
played-
that.
He
I
played
like
clown in the Spawn movie. He was the
Well,
only
yeah,
good
he
part of
did.
that. You know.
he was,
But-
he was John Wick's mechanic.
That's true.
Over.
That's right.
That was
But-
competent.
I'm not laughing about this this stuff with Diamond. I think it's awful, but it was so inevitable that you have people telling you you're wrong when you're like, there's absolutely no way this is going to happen. So
When
we'll
look,
get to that.
Yeah, like none of
Federico-
us want this stuff to fail. We want it to improve.
Exactly. Federico de la Casa. Hi guys. Part of me is sad because previews was the catalog where you find everything. I remember in 1989 it was black and white and violet or green or blue.
Yeah.
Previews is going to be a big loss. Are you going to feel like it's a huge loss, Yul?
In shipping, because it's not going to be all heavy anymore, or even available.
You don't have to pay for it in the shipping anymore.
I'm like, you want to kind of give those away, and I'm thinking back about all the times I gave those away. Just like this is advertisement, and then I think about how we got fucked on shipping.
Well,
And those are heavy.
they're sending you a crate of phone books every month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No wonder I was in debt.
The yellow
It's-
pages at least was smart enough to only deliver once a year.
It's
Just
2020,
one.
man. This shit should all be online anyway.
I have no problem with that. People do, and it is nice when.
By people, you
hand
mean
something.
Brian Hips?
Well, there's a lot of Luddites in comics. I think that's the thing about physical media. You're kind of still maintaining the thing from the past, whether you're re-experiencing, like kids finding out about records today, and then they're on YouTube talking about them. But a physical, that's the thing about comics. You have to read it digitally more, Wes.
It's true.
But if there
You
was
can-
a real awesome convention that came to town, and you're like, oh, fuck, I can buy all these comics, you might feel a little differently about the physical situation then. But
Well, it's
Yeah,
like
but I don't know
Stan
if I
Lee
need that
said.
for the fucking preview, though.
There's something about sitting down with that preview book, though. There was something exciting.
yeah, it was
about sitting
exciting at
down
one
and,
time.
Yeah, and flipping
Oh,
through,
look
like,
at all these shirts.
15
Oh, yeah.
pounds of paper weighing your balls down as you sit in your lap.
if you're like me in the last several years, you would just flip past the comic section and go right to the merch. What toys can I buy? What
There were some times when comics were really super hot, and
yeah.
and going through the previews, it usually is very daunting anyway. So it doesn't matter if you're looking online or not. It's just old people don't like looking at screens so much.
No, I didn't like ordering from Lunar off of a screen. I would have rather had it's like give me
No, I
give me the
never
catalog to
look at anymore.
yeah, give me the
I-
catalog to look at, and then give me the spreadsheet where I just go through and I go click, click, click.
Just I don't.
You
even-
must have loved,
if-
what was that, Columbia House, where you got all the CDs?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
they're still looking for teenage me. I there's a whole bunch
screwed
of
them
Columbia
for that
House I
one
didn't
cent
pay
for
for.
12 albums.
Your 8-track of Frampton Comes Alive. I know.
It's a great one. Great one.
Galb says, I believe this is back on Pedro, because if he's being pushed around by Sue Storm, it will prove Kevin Feige isn't learning. Is that what you understand, Josh? Because that's like the rumor that was out there, but we haven't heard a lot of follow-up.
I know that was a rumor that was out there. They had made comments about Sue being a really kind of strong character. It looks
Mary
like they're
Sue.
going. Yeah, it looks like they're going to give.
Strongest member of the team, I thought.
What was that?
She becomes the strongest. She is now the strongest member of the team.
Yeah, but look, in a lot of ways, Sue is kind of the glue. Like, she's the female that kind of keeps the guys together. It sounds like Mr. Fantastic is going to be the lead. So we'll see. I think
Well,
they're
I
gonna.
mean, I'd like that in a movie where he wasn't played by Pedro Pascal.
Fair. I mean,
The
look,
problem is that Sue's always sometimes. I mean, she's often going looking at Namor anyway.
I know
Yeah.
the
Kind of
two-time
Reed is
hussy.
strong in that situation.
It's
you know.
Namor.
Whatever.
Namor.
She's really gonna, suffer now that he's Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Like,
comic
she's-
books right now.
Doesn't that
I don't care about
isn't that
the
guy
movies.
isn't that guy another alleged abuser?
Yeah, the allegations came out and nothing
Namor?
else has happened since then. Yeah.
I'm sure he slaps his conquest around.
Yeah.
It's in the
I mean-
water, though. I mean, how can it?
To give you an idea, Pedro Pascal is the second build league for whatever the Doom film is that's coming out. So the Avengers Doom, whatever, Doom War, Doom, whatever the fuck they're calling
Doomsday.
it. Doomsday. Yeah. So
Calman says, I know it was vile of what Gaiman's article said, but when it was spoken out loud from geeks and gamers, it was funny. I don't know, man. So maybe there's some of it could have been funny if you spoke it out loud.
Oh,
but
and
there's
it's a
lot
bunch of
pretty
people
gross.
talking about it at the same time, and one person's just, I mean, I assume says something funny.
Yeah.
But you guys are all laughing about it. I couldn't believe it. You guys are evil. There's terrible people on the
Well, it's
panel
just
here today.
it's so gross. You can't believe the
You
some of
gotta
the stuff
laugh.
these
It's right.
people get up to. Like you're just like, what? You
I-
did what?
I mean, I know a lot of people that their sex lives are, interesting.
Exactly.
But if they're consenting
We
adults,
know
they're
too much
consenting
about each
adults.
other, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm white bread. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But what really made me start laughing is the home chick that's making the allegations and is talking about her first meeting in the tub and everything. And then the next paragraph is about, so the next time I went to his house, I'm like, why the fuck did
Why
you
did
go?
you go back?
well,
She
no,
didn't have
but
a job.
this
She
is the
needed
thing
money.
though. This is the thing though.
Yeah.
It's always really damaged women that these guys seek out. The ones
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and he can he can play his celebrity, he can play his there is a pressure that comes along with that, especially if you're somebody who is a fan of his and likes his work. You're predisposed to like him. So
You're already,
and if
already damaged.
yeah, and let's look at who who he appeals to. He appeals to damaged goth girls that he could then suck into his spiritual nihilism through his books. So,
Wow,
you've
that's
already
good.
got damaged people, and then when they come along, and especially when they're young, oh my gosh, this rich, powerful author. I mean, maybe I want this. I don't know. It's like I'm not taking away. I'm not saying that they don't have some culpability in their decision making, but there is a power dynamic at play.
Well,
for
certainly,
sure.
and he admits that he did that stuff. Not all of it. But he said
Yeah.
some of it's embellished. But he said he did some of it at least.
And when we've got
not a very good
voicemails from him where he's, they've released voicemails where he's, admitting to doing it and apologizing for it, and yet everything was consensual, and I thought everything was great. But we have you on tape, where clearly
Honestly-
that something was wrong, and you're like, well, let me give you a bunch of money. And will that make
Honestly-
you happy if I give you money out of my wallet? Will you be quiet?
Yes.
I feel like he
Sometimes
would
It's
do
easier.
better with this one if he just owns it. Like, yeah, I did it. Have a
Or
nice
you could
day.
go to prison.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any real admissions of crimes here.
When they said no,
Right.
no, don't do that, and then he did it anyway. That's rape.
That's just it's just convincing. It takes a little extra convincing, is what that
No.
means, right?
So that's
Yeah, that's
what-
what Neil's. I mean,
And
that's
it
what
only
Neil's
happened
going for.
two
Wait.
Consensual non-consent.
Have another drink, and we'll talk about it in a few
Yeah.
minutes. Okay.
Oh,
That's not
my
the story that was told. I
goodness.
think Doc is out of his mind.
When
He's
when
not going
you
to admit to that part.
when you make the choice to get naked and take a bath in an outdoor bathtub, I don't know.
At some
I-
strange man's house.
Yeah,
No,
if
no,
someone
no.
you met for the
Well,
first
sort of
time.
I don't think
strange,
that's
maybe.
consent.
I mean, just an older guy, right?
Well, there's
Rich,
also
older,
that's the
famous
thing
dude.
is these things are so complicated. Like I mean I know I have a lot of female friends, and I've had friends who it's like, oh, they've slept with a married man and then they regret it, and then you know, and then they want to go tell the wife and destroy the guy's life. And it's like, you know, because look what he did to me. And it's like, but you made the decision to be in there. I mean, you know, you may feel like you were manipulated. You may feel like this, but you made the call. And just because now you regret it or you feel bad about yourself, like you don't get to go back but I mean, apparently sometimes you do. You get to go back and you get to say like, oh, well, I was assaulted or I was this or I was that. So these situations are always crazy complicated. The thing that you have to understand though is when you have one allegation, maybe there's more there than we can guess. When there's two allegations, maybe there's some collusion. When you start getting into 5, 6, 9, 14, and there's a pattern that's described by each woman of how they were, you know, how they were coerced or how they were pressured. You know, I think the worst
or
one
that they
is
said
the one
no
where,
and he did it anyway.
yeah, or the one that where he
story.
went and said like, boy, I'm sure would be a shame if you and your kids were out on the street, but you know, I could talk to Amanda if you do a little something for me. You know, that's it's a power dynamic. And when you look at Neil Gaiman and you look at the way he writes and you look at the thing about Master and even whether that's true or not, because you know it's hearsay, but when you look at his personality, it's not even really about the sex, it's about the power. It's about having that power over women. And I can tell you back in 1993 when I went to a midnight reading of that guy, unfamiliar with his work, but my friend liked him. We sat down, we were watching it, and it was a good reading, but I could tell he was really up his own ass. He was already trying to cultivate that rock star persona, but with this kind of like manufactured humility. You know, you could tell it was all a very put upon persona. And there were lots of girls there that wanted to sleep with him. And as you get older and those girls maybe don't want to sleep with you so much anymore, or it's easy to get girls to sleep with you. And now it becomes about, well, let me get the girls that don't want to sleep with me. You know, there's all kinds of weird psychological problems that go into all this. And that's why these situations are so complicated and why they really should be sorted out in a court of law.
Yeah. Like the part where he said, sorry.
Wait, we have to get.
I don't want to go down
through a
this
court of
rabbit
law
hole
again in
for
a
45
relationship?
minutes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no,
There's a reason I didn't put this on the fucking thing.
Let's get to DC because actually I'm really interested in hearing what
Well,
Uel
we
has
can't
to
get
say
to
as a
DC.
retailer.
We've got to get through these super chats first.
Oh, that's
Edward Drew. Was there a fill-in artist for Gods 2? No, there was not a fill-in artist. Most of it was illustrated by Evan Cagle, but there was an additional artist that illustrated a dream sequence from Highfather that wasn't quite as good as the Evan Cagle stuff, but that's a well-illustrated comic book. Calvin says, Master, I'm coming. Oh, I bet you are. Oh, my goodness. Matthew Ledbetter, it's Heart of Hush, Hush Money, House of Hush. Are the Paul Dini.
Yeah, those all
sequels.
ran in Detective Comics. So.
Yeah,
There you go.
Very
they all kind
Me
of blend
too.
together.
And then Dion, what's worse, the DCEU or the DCAMU? I picked the DCAMU. I think you were a fool. The DC Animated Universe is pretty darn solid. It hasn't been as great as of late, but there was a really good 12-year period when it was almost bulletproof.
Well, you go from the early Batman animated series up through Justice League Unlimited, and that is almost perfection. Very few misses in that run.
Don't they technically consider the DCAMU from the start of the New 52 films forward?
I believe so.
Oh, then I'm going to say really hit and miss.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah, but the DCEU is really miss.
I mean, the DCAMU's been really missed too.
They let Tim Sheridan adapt to the Long Halloween. I mean, come on.
Probably.
I like the Flashpoint Paradox, the animated, so much better than the comic book. It just made so much sense having it distilled and adapted into a really succinct, better working story.
I liked when Reverse Flash showed up in Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay.
Yeah.
After that one where he still had the bullet hole through his head, and he was living in that second before he dies.
Yeah, I like the update that they did on Under the Red Hood. That was well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Judd Winnick got to adapt his own story. That was the best part, I think.
I think the extra scenes were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sally Akibe, would the MCU better if they stuck with the original plan of Doctor Strange being the new leader of the MCU? I assume he means the Avengers, Josh. Do you think that would have been a better plan?
Yeah, I mean, they should have kept Doctor Strange to what it was supposed to be. And, have him fighting Nightmare and dealing with his past and losing his sister, and then having Scarlet Witch trying to help him fight Nightmare and then turning evil. And that's what leads him to then get the Avengers back together. It would have been way better.
But we needed America Chavez and pizza balls. And the memory store, Josh. Remember the memory store? If not, step on this sidewalk and it'll remember it for you.
Yeah, listen, I know a lot of us are Raimi fans, but Raimi did a lot of damage there, unfortunately.
Wasn't his movie. It was
No,
almost already
Dr.
done
Strange-
by the time it came.
Oh,
He's just
no.
getting
Why do they
the
got to do anything with
No,
that script?
No. You go
Don't
watch
you
the
talk bad
comment-
about Raimi. This ain't
You
the
go-
place for it, Josh.
You
It
go
will not
watch
be
the
allowed.
commentary. I was destroyed when I watched the commentary and I found out most of the stuff I hated was stuff that Raimi was like, we should do this. And I'm like, oh fuck no, please stop. Just don't.
Man, you probably don't even like The Dark Man. You don't like Evil Dead 2,
I love Evil
Army
Dead.
of
I
Darkness.
love
You don't
Evil
like
Dead 2.
Spider-Man 2?
Evil
Why are we
Dead.
trying
I
to
don't
Yeah.
like
Three.
either.
Evil Dead 2 won. Well, actually, it's Evil Dead because it's franchises, but the Evil Dead franchise won our Halloween horror-thon off. So
Why are you trashing the man?
I'm just saying he made bad choices, and Michael what's his tits didn't help either. The writer.
Yeah. Finally, Callum says, on what Aaron said, this is the response, but I need to be a victim. I want to be special and feel empowered by my victimhood. I don't get that impression out of the article.
Look,
Personally.
there's a certain point I just gotta say, if it's my first time meeting someone and they ask me to get naked in an outdoor tub, I'm hightailing it out of that hoe. And
No,
I
you're
can
considering it.
no. I've talked about this with Wes. I've been in a situation where someone who quote unquote had power in the film industry, I was over at their house and they got naked and I was noped out like nobody's business. I'm like,
But if
out.
you were down, you wouldn't have, is what I'm saying.
Did you need $15 for rent?
no, because I work.
Exactly.
Like a normal
I'm
person.
not gay, but $20 is $20.
Exactly.
So who can disrobe? And you're like, all right, I'll stick around.
Oh
gotta
man,
be
if it's
something.
like
There's a few
Henry
porn
Cavill, Nick Bosa, like I'm good. Let's
Nick
go.
Bosa. My
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Jeez.
I've been on the Bosa train for a few years.
Phrasing.
Kate
How do you mean
Beckinsale.
that? I mean,
How do I
that
mean
could be
what?
taken multiple ways. You've been on the Bosa train for years.
Oh,
Like,
oh no, I
That's
didn't mean it like
exactly what I
that.
thought.
I've been a fan of Nick Bosa for a few
there we
years.
go.
There we
That's
go.
probably a better way to put it.
Whoa,
But,
I'm turning red
No,
on that one.
we're on the right one right there. The train.
But everyone's going to have their
Red.
own interpretation and response to the article, and certainly some of the text after what happened, they do paint a weird picture, but it's all fucking icky to me, man. I don't even want to do it anymore. Let's move on and talk about the big story that I would like to discuss this week. We had Diamond Comics filing for bankruptcy. Uel Carter, you are a comic book retailer. You've been dealing with Diamond, I think, your entire adult life. You've always worked in shops or owned shops, correct?
For the most part, we used to be in the store I worked at. We were Capital City, and I was actually friends-ish with a guy that worked there. And those were good days. And then there weren't good days because Capital didn't have anybody to distribute because Marvel did their thing where they had their own distribution.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was starting to get exclusive deals. And as the exclusive deals for the companies, DC went to Diamond immediately. And Capital doesn't have number 2, no chance of getting number 1. And so they're trying to get, Valiant or whatever it is. And I don't even think it was Valiant that they got.
No, they should have gone after Image because Image was pretty hot at the time, and they didn't lock up Image. And as soon as they didn't even lock up Image, they were done.
Yeah, that would have been a thing also. Yeah. So, I mean, we've seen this thing happen. Diamond's in the situation where they've lost all their important contracts. And I was like, oh, look, Frank Miller Presents Comics are signing exclusive to Diamond. That's not going to last long.
You can get all your
it was
distillery books at Diamond.
Oni
Yeah,
and Lion
distillery's
Forge.
now only at Diamond. You idiots. They must have been. Lunar was like, man, this fucking shit is expensive to ship. And they didn't like their deal. That's what I assume. And so they went exclusive to the Diamonds. Guy can do anything to make you want to come over here. And Look
So
what
were
they've
you
got.
still wholesaling through Diamond, or were you just going if it's only at Lunar or only at my house, that's only the place I want to order it? Or you still have to
Yeah,
deal with
that's
Diamond? 'Cause
exactly
it sounds
what I
like
did.
everything fell
I would-
apart the last few months.
Yeah, well, all right. So I got Boom from Diamond. I got Distillery, like we were saying, from Diamond recently. And I got Dynamite through Diamond, and Titan. Those are the Dynamite and Titan are the reasons that I have to keep going through Diamond. And I mean, as of right now, it looks like they're still going to be sticking with them, but I don't know what that's going to mean.
They likely have to. I believe they have exclusives, likely.
Well, here's the problem, though.
I
is that
think going
exclusive-
Chapter 11, your exclusive might be null and void.
Maybe.
Yeah, because you're
Maybe.
not getting.
I'm not no lawyer.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you're not
well,
getting
there's
paid
the other
anymore.
thing.
That's and that's what's going to happen with the toy companies, like your Hasbro's, your Funko's, all these other things that shops carry through Diamond. Is as soon as you are possibly defaulting on some of the money that you owe them, they're not going to ship you new product.
Right.
So Diamond is going to be in a really tough spot because they're not going to be able to fulfill the next couple months of orders that they have out there because the companies aren't going to ship them product because they don't know if they're ever going to see the money on that.
You're right. Exactly. So Chapter 11 is not necessarily the worst thing you can have happen to you. I just see with the way there's exclusive contracts and Image saying we're not going to be going with you anymore. And then it looks like Alliance isn't going to be involved with them anymore. And that's where you get like your Magic the Gathering sometimes and Pokemon and things like that. And Funko, they're losing, it looks like. And I don't even know how great that was anyway. Who baby, Diamond. If you have a plan going forward and it's viable, bankruptcy is not a bad thing. Other than the fact that you might piss a few people you owe money off to. But, it's understandable sometimes. But since everybody's saying, oh, look, these small publishers, it's going to be a hard time for them. Yeah, it is.
If Diamond owes you money and you're a scout.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Or, you're.
That's what it is.
Yul, does it look like though that if this goes the way that the Diamond completely becomes obsolete, they close down, they don't exist anymore, couldn't that actually be beneficial for comic shop owners?
Yeah, the reality is it's hard to order more titles from different companies the more there are.
Right.
And with Marvel and DC, the way they flood stuff, heck, I could say with the way Todd McFarlane and Ghost Machine are flooding stuff, if it was just those companies alone, along with Marvel and DC, that's killing a lot of Dark Horse, which is the Millerverse, and that's not even small like we're talking about. Those guys all get distributed either by Lunar or Penguin Random House. People like my store because I have things that aren't just all those other ones. And sometimes I push back when people say indie comics and they're talking about an Image comic or a Dark Horse comic or an Oni comic. I'm like, no, it's just not small press like it used to be.
I heard Yule stocks cherry Pop-Tart. I'm in.
Yeah, I will. I don't have any right now, but
okay.
But she loves us, so that's the important thing.
I have a magnet on my.
It's going to be cheaper. I like it being cheaper. If I can get, I've been itching for Titan to go to Penguin Random House fully. It's you're losing money is what is happening in my store by not going with a better company. Dynamite. Yeah, I know there's probably fans, and if they were gone,
I don't
that wouldn't be a bad thing.
I don't think that there's really much of a, I'll be perfectly honest, a loss here.
Right.
You have one company that was utterly stuck in the past. They weren't, they had 30 years to 25 years to modernize themselves, and they failed to do so. Instead, they wasted money on a fucking internal museum that nobody goes to.
I don't even think that's around anymore.
No, it's not,
Yeah.
because that was one of the first things.
Yeah.
Like they wasted a bunch of money, and they never reinvested into their company. And when Jim Lee made the quote unquote sociopathic decision to create, through deals, 2 competitors that turned down to 1 and then expanded back to 2 through other means. You had 2 companies that were already modern. Now, Diamond could have played catch up, but honestly, they were never going to. They were fucking Studebaker.
Well, they needed to a long time before that, too.
Exactly. They were now playing. They were now like, it was a tortoise and hare thing, where they were sitting there taking a fucking nap for the last 25 years. All it took was one person to just show up with any amount of modernized systems, and they were toast.
Do you remember who called them sociopathic? I just wonder if you remember that.
It was
Eric
Stevenson.
Oh, Eric Stevenson, the one whose Image Comics aren't going to be hanging out with Diamond anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. What the funny how...
Whoops.
I have a video about that coming up on tomorrow.
But so my point though here is, when you have a company that only gets dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century, they are not long for this world. They were gone one way or another eventually, and they're still going to. I'm sorry. I know. What are they? Was it chapter 7 or chapter 11? 11. The reorganization one. They're going to reorganize. They're going to try. They're going to struggle. They're going to attempt to reinvest. They're not going to get investors. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, they're going to close. They're Sears and Kmart in like 2009, 2010, when they announced that, oh no, it's just our reorganization. We're going to just reorganize and we'll be fine. And then all you're doing, all Diamond is doing with such an outdated business model, outdated facilities, outdated everything, they are never going to get the funds to actually redevelop themselves, become
and they're selling off.
Be there in the end,
and they're selling off some of the most valuable assets. They're selling off their tabletop gaming part. They're selling off the European distribution. They're selling off the toy part, and it's just they're just going to be a comic distributor, but they won't have any publishers left.
And so this is kicking the can down the road. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Diamond is gone, whether they're gone at all right now. Anyway, they're gone, and you're going to have a couple of years of kicking and screaming on their way there, but it's not going to matter. And so what you're going to do is you're going to end up with you're not going to have an anchor dragging the comic industry down anymore.
Just the quality. That's the only anchor left.
Yeah, the quality. I mean, they've eliminated one of the things that has kept comics just unable to move forward, and that was their distribution model. They still need to improve it, but now you open up a little bit of space. There aren't now all the idiot stores out there that are, for whatever reason, still loyal to fucking Diamond against their own financial well-being. They're not going to have that anymore. They're just going to have to go and deal with a actual company.
Perch had a really great video on this where he broke it all down, and then he talked about Brian Hibbs kicking and screaming, and it's like, well, of course you wanted the the status quo to stay in place because you had sweetheart deals, because you'd take the diamond people out to a steakhouse when they would come into town. That's going to go away. The playing field is going to be level. You're not going to be able to get those sweet deals. So of course you're mad. Brian Hibbs has always tried to keep the industry small to his liking and has opposed any kind of growth or any kind of advancement that the industry might make into, other means of delivery. So, ultimately, sometimes disruption is a good thing. I hate the idea that publishers will go under. I hate the idea that shops will go under. These are people who are not responsible for the damage that Diamond has done. But hopefully this disruption will be something from which, the industry can grow and change because it needs to change.
Yeah, I think kind of, and this is kind of what Uel was talking about. It looks like one of the biggest potential setbacks are these smaller actual indie publishers. Uel, is there a way they could sign contracts with companies like Image to help?
Yeah, I think Image would be the obvious choice for them to check out. It depends on how small they really are, but it'd be like, I guess, an imprint. I don't know how they would work things out, or maybe instead of being published by this company, you just, as a creator, take it over to it all depends on what these things are all doing. I assume, so Oni is distributed by Lunar. Scout is distributed by Lunar. Mad Cave is distributed by Lunar. Penguin Random House does big things. They do IDW, big. Marvel and Dark Horse, and Titan Books and DC Books, graphic novels, trade paperbacks, whatever you want to call them. So you can get a lot of things through these other companies at better rates than what we were getting over at Diamond. You could have still bought Image until recently. You could still be buying Marvel books, but how much longer is that really going to happen? They were already giving a really bad discount to owners of stores and adding on a really crummy shipping. Oh my God, the shipping this week was one box, and it was taped and it was held down, and the box was
it was waiting to explode.
Just waiting to explode,
like a button on a really fat dude's suit. You're just waiting.
Stuff was damaged, and
I saw that there was a comic shop in Wichita. It was Wizard something. And the guy had the video on there, and the size of the box, and then you see how many comic books are in there. I cannot believe they physically fit them all in there, and every single one of them was damaged.
Oh, and or the worst maybe is a big ass box with only one book in it.
Yeah, yeah, or even when I would go to do the pickups for the shops that I was ordering for, there was a distribution center in that you could drive down to, and man, I know it was just a warehouse that they were hiring, but those guys were the biggest assholes. You just got treated like shit from your rep all the way down to picking up your books. It was just a steady stream of abuse that you endured as a person who was trying to give this company money.
Yeah.
And I told the story on Wes in my video about how, they let $1 million a year account walk away because they didn't want to give a different rep to this shop. Just let them walk. So this is all a continual stream of them cutting their own throat. Nobody is to blame except Diamond themselves. I'll tell you another quick story. Do we have time, Wes, for another quick Diamond story?
Yeah, of course. I love it.
Okay.
Stories.
So when I was working for Toy Rocket, and we would do the pickups, a lot of times someone else's order would be in the middle of our pallet. So we'd be breaking down the pallet, and there'd be another shop's order in there. And now, luckily, I knew a lot of the local guys. So, we were able to just call them personally and say, hey, do you want to pick this up? And then they would go complain to their Diamond rep, or they would just tell their Diamond rep they didn't get it. I don't know how they handled their business. But that would happen a lot. And I had another friend who was doing business with them. He went to do his pickup for 3 weeks. He got there. They brought out, they gave him an invoice for 1 week's worth of stuff. And he said, well, where's the other 2 weeks? And they said, oh, you picked those up last week. And he said, no, I didn't. And they said, yeah, you picked it up. And he goes, how did you get paid? Because I'm cash on delivery. I brought a cashier's check for the full amount, as you can see here. And they told him he must have picked it up, even though they had no record of payment for it. And therefore, he needed to give them that entire check. And he's like, I'm not giving you this check. I don't have 2 weeks of product. Bring that other 2 weeks of product out here, and then I'll give you the check. And they're like, well, you already picked it up. And he's like, no, I didn't, as evidenced by the fact that I am cash on delivery, and I brought the full amount today. And then they told him, well, you need to prove that you didn't pick it up. And he was like, how do I do that? You have cameras in here? You want to go back and look at the footage where I wasn't here on delivery day the last 2 weeks? Like, why do I have to prove a negative? And that got him into a huge
sounds like
fight
a government-run operation. Are you sure that wasn't the FBI?
Yeah, and then he dropped Diamond too. This is, they lost customers left and right because of their incompetence and their inability to do anything correct on any level.
You hear stories about like that a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of reps, my LCS, like my comic shop owner, he's had his shop for over 30 years. And he's talked about how back in the day, like if they ever needed something, they could get a rep right away. The rep was excellent, never had problems. And he's like, now if you can get anyone on the phone, you're lucky.
When Patrick Stork was my rep, when I was at Toy Rocket, the only reason that anything worked at Diamond was because of him. And so eventually, they had to let him go.
So how do you feel about this, Uel? Are you happy? Do you think this was a necessary change? Are you sad that we might be losing some smaller publishers, or are you optimistic that this is going to be a good move?
I'm not going to be dancing on anybody's grave, but it feels like a life support situation. People are falling away. What is it going to be? Is it going to be a comic book distributor? I mean, really?
That's all that they're going to have left. They're selling everything else off.
I mean, maybe they could say, hey, we could get all this crowdfunded crap. We could send it out, I don't know. Is Drew going to start going exclusive with?
Honestly, I think they're going to end up being a regional distributor.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get that.
And we may get back to that where you start seeing other regional distributors pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. It worked for a very long time. You'll have a couple of nationals and some regionals.
The comic books to pay attention to are anything from Dynamite and anything from Titan. These are probably the ones that most people like that are watching this show. And it might be hard to get some in the future, or there might just not be issues that were promised that didn't get delivered. And until those companies move over to another place, and that's like,
do you think Marvel cuts off Diamond's access to wholesale their comic books through Penguin Random House?
Well, I mean, which one?
Do you think Marvel will say, Penguin Random House says no, you can no longer wholesale Marvel through to Diamond and distribute through them, like Image Disc did with
possibly. I mean,
I assume that they will.
I mean,
100%
it would be a Marvel
I
thing
think.
more than a Penguin Random House thing.
$9 million is a lot of money.
That's they have a lot of debt. They are not going to continue with that kind of unsecured debt.
And Jeppy just turned 74 years old. I mean, do you think he's just had enough? That maybe it's just time for him to, go away and just be done with it?
I know this sounds bad. I assume that they go out there, they secure a few loans, and then they really go under, so he's not broke. He can get a little bit of money out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be the way to do it.
Screw some.
It's really hard. I was talking to a friend, and he's like, "Don't you want this store to survive you?" And I said, "God damn no." That means I died doing comic books, and I don't want to do that.
You don't want to pass it on to your son. Come on, boy.
But my point is, I want to not die working in comics. You know what I mean? I got out once and I got back in. This is the last time. I don't want to do it again.
I want to die making comics.
That's cool. I mean, I love selling comics.
I want to die under a giant pile of comics that fell on me, like I'm in a Scrooge McDucky and comic vault.
Well, I mean, that is part of the prophecy, Doc, that you die under a huge pile of comics. So
What happened to Doc? I don't know. The long boxes, man. They just came down.
Why do you think I switched from long boxes to filing cabinets?
That's why I switched to short boxes. They get wicked heavy.
We can't even get in there. What's that smell? That's newsprint, baby.
So what's the exit strategy then, Uel? What are you looking to do in the final chapter, or your next chapter? I don't know if it's
I don't know what the next chapter. I mean, I want to make the store successful. I want to make the store successful.
Have you thought about a comic book store / dispensary?
No, I don't. They're ridiculous in Berkeley as far as those dispensaries are concerned.
Too many of them.
What I want to do is I want to make the downstairs area a library, so that all my patrons, not Patreon, but those people too, can come down there and experience out of print books, and I can curate it, and so like it would be my library, but my comic book library.
How about?
And I've got all sorts of stuff here that are collected, that's out of print, and this is going to be the place to go. So that's like my dream, that I could make this a thing.
How about a combination comic book shop strip club?
Oh, well, that's not a bad idea, because at Fantastic Comics, a man can be a man. I joke about that, our little slogan.
Wait, Uel, consider this, okay? Comic book store / sports bar / strip club / strap gun range / gun range.
I can't do that.
And you can use
just and somewhere in the
really
back,
small, everybody.
Somewhere in the back, you can rebuild an engine. It's just the manliest place you could go.
Comic shop, dispensary, and bakery. Come on.
You can use all those Marvel Now and all new, all different Marvel as targets for the gun range.
It's a paid library. By
Doc was onto it. This dude, you call it the comic strip.
Yes, the
comic
strip.
And all the strippers have comic book names. You Mary Jade is on the
They have they do stripper cosplay.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Felicia.
Wes and I were just talking about how it's hard to come up with comic book names that aren't also porn star names.
Yeah.
So yeah, fits.
Yeah, AL said she had a hell of a time coming up with Turbo Lass. Apparently, her other names were quite, if you searched them, you got bad stuff for it. But it'd be funny. You could have like superhero theme songs to be what they're stripping to.
Yeah,
it's AL's birthday, guys.
She's going to a birthday, but it's not her birthday.
Oh,
birthday's in the spring.
She's going to a birthday party at McDonald's, and I'm wicked jealous.
And every once
you can have the nudie booth in the back, and Doc could sell tokens at your shop.
Every once in a while, you get a Storm, a Rogue, a Jean Grey, and a Psylocke that all come out in the X-Men '97 cartoon.
Exactly.
I think this will make
broke. It would
make a lot of money. This venture would make a lot of money. This is why I always said, like, whenever San Diego Comic-Con, who I saw people were rejoicing because they just signed to be in San Diego till 2027, and people are all happy, and I'm like, they're never leaving San Diego. Stop falling for this. But whenever they threaten to go to Vegas, I'm like, as soon as they go to Vegas, it's over, because you show up and you can buy some comics. You're some lonely nerd. Yeah, you can buy some comics, or all the hookers are dressed like superheroes. Where are the nerds going to spend their money?
Yes.
Yeah.
When cosplay becomes consent.
Hey, once again, for $50, consent goes away.
Wow.
My goodness. Very awful people here. But obviously, Diamond's shutting down. I got another video coming up tomorrow, but I think we've handled this a lot. Big loss. We'll see how everything works out. But I would say in 2025, with the things that are out there, this is far less catastrophic than it would have been in 2015 or 2005.
Well, when they had everything.
That was a single point.
I can't even imagine how comics could recover so quickly.
Exactly.
But they did pretty much during the pandemic. So
DC deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah. Man, all the things they did and do. They were supposed to be the ones that were going out of business. Recall that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I do believe I was talking smack about Diamond then.
Everybody
Yeah.
was.
Well,
I mean, we had a Comics Aficionados. What would actually kill the comic book industry? Because everyone was kind of talking about that. I believe Uel was here, and Jeremy, and Pele, and Doc, and Perch, and we came up with a consensus. It was if Diamond went out of business, that would be the end of it. And that's not the way it is today.
Nah, it's going to be high rent. I mean,
No. We were talking about what would kill the industry at the same time. And it was like you have a single point of failure, one distributor. If they went out of business, you might not be able to recover.
And they fixed that.
It's not that way anymore.
They fixed the point of failure
Exactly.
during COVID, and now when that thing happened, that we all could see the giant writing on the wall of it potentially being able to happen, it didn't have the outcome that it previously would have had.
Yeah,
exactly. So
Thanks,
things
DC.
are definitely healthier.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the people. This is a good question
man.
that I think people will be interested in, Uel. Without Diamond, does Free Comic Book Day collapse?
Ooh.
No, because
DC had Free
Penguin
Comic Book Day last year.
Yeah, the other companies are still putting out those books for that very same day. I don't see any reason why Marvel wouldn't keep doing it. I just order them from Penguin Random House. I order the DC ones from Lunar, and any of the companies like Mad Cave that might put them out, I get from Lunar also, and the other ones also. I don't think it's necessarily going to collapse, but there is ownership over the banner and the blue print and calling it Free Comic Book Day.
The logo.
So that might be a thing. But who knows? Maybe they can sell that and make a couple bucks.
Yeah, off some of their
They're gonna have
creditors.
to.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Penguin Random House, if you knock off $25,000 off of that money we owe you, we'll let you have the Free Comic Book Day IP and all that.
And they're
kind of
like,
stuff.
oh God, does this really fucking matter?
So Uel, do you think Free Comic Book Day is still important? I've heard differing opinions from retailers.
Right. It's not as exciting as it was, and I don't think it was ever really all that exciting. But the people that came in made it that way. And if you had the ability to excite them with what you had in the store that wasn't the stuff they were looking for, or to, free stuff, you could get some pretty good customers coming back in. I forgot about the fun of comic books and, coming in weekly or monthly or whatever it is. And we were really big, and we had trades all over the place. Someone in comments said, we have to go, comic stores have to go to a book model. That's exactly what we were. We sold way more graphic novels, or more of our money was graphic novels and individual issues. In a smaller store, it's not the same. It's individual issues more than books.
Yeah, I've talked to retailers that think Free Comic Day is amazing. It's great marketing, and it brings in a lot of people. And I've talked to retailers that absolutely hate it. They're like, I hate that I have to do this because it's not free. I have to pay for all of it.
Yeah, and it does bring in a lot of freeloaders. You see the people that show up with their kids and their sister's kids and their cousins' kids, and everybody gets something free, and we're not going to spend a dime in here. But you hopefully offset it by being able to to push stuff like Phil said, get some people that are actually interested in comics.
Well, we need to get
trades.
See, the thing is we need more viewers of this show to buy Kneel Before Doomface.
That's right.
And it's kind of the same way. We're going to call you freeloaders right now.
Until you buy.
Yeah. You have freeloaders coming in for free comics and 3 pages of Doomface for free.
That's right. No, I would love to be able to do that. One of the things that when James Silvani and I were pitching for the Disney license right before Diamond swooped in and snapped it up and just started putting out covers with meaningless content inside, we had laid out a whole business plan. And one of the things we wanted to do was take some of the profit and be able to do to donate comics, do newsprint versions of everything we were doing, or reprints and things like that, and donate them to children's hospitals and doctors' offices and things like that. And in the back there would be information on how you could find these books if you wanted to order them, if you wanted to get subscriptions, if you wanted to keep going with these things. But we were looking at that. We were looking at doing books at the dollar store. There's all kinds of different ways that we were like, how do we increase the reach of comic books? This isn't just about
putting out a book that we want to do. This is about actually trying to grow an audience. And the problem with Diamond and with guys like Brian Hibbs is they've never been interested in growing an audience. They just want to keep things the way they were because they were safe and they were comfortable.
Very nice. Proof that Jim from Weird Science is alive. Ultimate Wolverine sucked ass. Hashtag positive for 2025.
Yeah.
Take his word for it.
I thought that the letter at the end of the book was ridiculous. It just sucked me completely out of this book because it's just nothing but this. It
went from suck to blow.
It went from suck to blow. It looked like that the shitty lettering, like that I hate, not the hand drawn onomatopoeia. It did not look like hand written. It wasn't a letter. You know what I mean? It just sucked me right out. It was like that's just click and point, fucking digital shit. I don't know. Why does it just ruin the entire illusion for me?
Did you read Ultimate Wolverine, Uel?
No. I paged through it, the copy that you sent, and then I realized I had one in the house, but I didn't care. It's just he kills some people, gets in some fights. The art's kind of cool, but that guy's
he doesn't kill some
okay.
people. He kills some important people.
The fight scenes are great.
Yeah.
Look,
I guess that one because
I didn't think it was as bad as what Jim thought it was. I thought it was all right.
I just didn't read the words.
It's better than Ultimate X-Men and Ultimates.
I was gonna say so far,
you.
I think it's the best Ultimates book on the.
Oh, you're crazy.
No.
Crazy.
Ultimate Spider-Man, way better.
Ultimate Black Panther.
No.
Have we talked about how awesome Ultimate Spider-Man number 12 was? Holy shit, that issue was so good.
The problem with Ultimate
Christmas
couldn't
issue?
believe I cared so much when I was reading it, and it was like
the Christmas issue
played out like a real scene. I thought it was really great. And Jay Jonah's trying to get some trim, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but Uncle Ben is cock blocking him the entire fucking time.
Well, I
being
mean,
charming.
Was
that the issue that we reviewed where there was no Spider-Man in our Spider-Man comic?
There was a comic book, I think, or drawing.
There was a cover.
Girl drew him.
I
loved it. I thought it was great.
You had more Wolverine and Wolverine action in this one comic than you had Spider-Man in all 12 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man. Let's be for real. Like,
I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
I do.
Jim says it's the worst comic he's read all year.
Jim.
Ultimate Wolverine, yeah, I believe that.
No, come on. Dennis Camp didn't write this.
Jim.
Oh, he says he was there first. He said Dennis Camp is better.
Who wrote this?
It was
Chris Condon.
Chris Condon, yeah.
Oh no, that's the guy
Flood.
doing Green Arrow right now.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. I'm with Wes. Look,
I thought it was
even conceptually. I like the concept. Great. It's pretty much just a what if concept. What if Wolverine was the Winter Soldier? But
the problem is it transitions. It's popping around in time, and there's no sense of how it's happening.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing. It's not a perfect book.
There need to be a color change. There need to be a box that says now, then, 23 hours
fit
ago.
All that hair under his mask. Holy cow! Right? He's got a.
Why does Wolverine had his hair out?
He takes his mask off and he's wearing a face mask, and then his hair's all puffed out like that. I mean, how does he get that under there?
Clown. He looks like Loeb. But I thought it was better than Jim, but I was also disappointed.
I love that Rob Liefeld's been taking the piss out of it by showing off. We did Ultimate Wolverine all the way back in, just showing off the character. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Rob Liefeld's like my favorite and most hated person in comics ever, all at the same time.
It's funny because
Rob is great talking about comic books. So anytime he talks about movies or television, I go, man, this guy is.
Well, he's got movie deals in the works, and his son's trying to be an actor, so he's got to walk the line.
Yeah, I don't have any. I just ignore
his movie opinions are worse than fucking Zach's, man.
I know.
Comics ain't so great either until it is.
No, I mean, like, I just ignore anything that Rob says about Hollywood because of how directly tied to his wallet Hollywood is. Between his projects that he's trying to get greenlit, his kid, His career, his wife was an actress, and I think she's still involved in Hollywood in some way.
Triplets, one of three.
So, look, Rob has a personal, he has something personal stake in Hollywood, so he is not going to burn any bridges there.
Next up, Everett Todd says comics need to go to trades as their primary method.
Nope.
And I know Doc is vehemently against this idea. Me personally, over time, I've become more amenable to it. I think maybe trades in that format are the future of comic books for large distribution.
It should for new books, like instead of buying monthly comic, just get the trade. I mean,
why do a miniseries? Just put out a fucking manga-sized graphic novel.
I don't know. Doc, you're not buying new comics anyway.
But here's the reason, and I will break this down for the millionth time. You have a product that right now is too fucking expensive. Mm-hmm. So your solution is to package 6 of them and make it and sextuple the price. They do not have the volume that manga does. They are
100 pages for $10 feels a lot better value than 22 pages.
It won't be $10 because they
$30
because they have to make their fucking nut back on it that they put into it. It works for manga because they made their nut back in Japan before they ever, and by selling millions of copies of the previous issue. They don't have that volume.
And we're seeing the successful ones over here. We're not seeing all the other garbage. But the thing is like the garbage doesn't make it into collected form or what we call manga.
It doesn't. So you're going to have Marvel and DC, who is already struggling with quality, already too expensive for because the big thing is non-readers becoming readers. Are people going
Doc, I got to cut you off because I got a question specifically that counters this. That Alex Ross Fantastic Four was a success that Abrams put out. And that was a higher price. Now, if comics were maybe more European than manga, and you had quality, like Dustin Weaver, I think is really good. He can write and draw.
Yeah.
And if he got onto I want you to do a Silver Surfer story, like that Fantastic Four. Would that be better? You remember Batman, Son of the Demon? People still like that one. And there were graphic novels, or at least prestige format comic books that could sit on a graphic novel shelf. Also,
you know what? Here's the thing with like that Fantastic Four full circle. I am willing to bet that 99.9+% of the buyers of that are current or lapsed comic readers. They are not non-comics consumers trying comics for the first time.
As the artist.
Yeah, there is so much. I mean, look, let's say you're looking at what, $30,000
picture. That's not Josh.
What is it?
The picture is way more handsome.
I was sorry, I was getting on to my dog and I forgot I had that as a joke for a previous stream. That's Nev. That's Nev from Catfish. So,
but so you have this industry that right now is struggling to convert non-readers to readers. They're even struggling to maintain. So you are not going to do it at the price point unless they have already figured out how to sell millions of copies of these trades every month, that they can do it a low price point. So the printing, and what would that 6 issues combined, you're looking at $150,000, $180,000 investment in the creative team, plus the printing costs. So plus you need to make a profit. You split with distributors. If you want to keep that price point at like $10, $12, you have to sell 1 million fucking copies every month. That's it. And comics doesn't have that audience.
Very nice. Dion says, fun fact, Kill the Justice League made Warner Brothers lose $200 million. Holy crap, Aaron's here. Or at least it's like the Holy Spirit of Aaron. Like the,
I know it's like a very
Oh.
ghostly. Wes, you must go to the Dagobah system.
Yes.
System?
yes, they did lose $200 million, and they probably deserved it, Aaron.
Well, you know, you hired Sweet Baby Inc.
What do you think was going to happen?
You decided, you know what people really want to play is they want to play lesbian lady Mr. Freeze. That's what they want to download.
So you let a vampire in your house.
or lesbian pedophile Harley Quinn.
Yeah, or
Trying to
or you know, you want to, or right
9-year-old.
after the passing of Kevin Conroy, you want to make sure that Harley Quinn is the person who kills the Batman that we all played in the Arkham games. That everybody loves the Arkham games. Everybody loves Batman. Everybody loves Kevin Conroy. And you have Harley Quinn, of all people, shoot him in the head while he's sitting on a park bench. Great creative decisions, guys.
Oh boy. But Aaron, wasn't that a clone?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
they tried to
the point
backpedal
now.
later. Like, we were always going to reveal blah blah blah. And it's like, you only get one chance to make a first impression, guys.
It's like my girl JoJo says, too little, too late. HH, the boys at Sigma Comics. Here comes the cat. You don't like JoJo? Josh?
JoJo Mullen? JoJo Mullen's fine ass? Is that what we're talking
No,
about?
the singer
Oh.
JoJo. It's too little,
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah. You're just a little too late.
Exactly.
I was just shocked you were giving a JoJo reference. I was like, wait, am I missing something? Or is this
No,
what he
it's-
means?
That's my girl, JoJo. I miss her. HH to the folks at Sigma Comics. Here comes Calico. Greetings, all. We always knew the direct market wasn't the way. Shops never pitch our differentiators. They just toss us in the back. Now we're the best-selling indie on the convention circuit. At Here Comes Calico.
That's not totally true.
You just threw his books in the back like they weren't important?
Well, I mean, let's see.
That sounds like a
Here Comes
yes.
Calico would be H, so Fire and Ice had to go before it.
Ah. Yeah, that's what the good thing about today's market is.
So it gets sandwiched,
There's so many different ways to reach an audience. You could go out there and use Whatnot as your primary means. You can go and use Kickstarter, Indiegogo. You can create a Facebook market. You can find a public.
I've been against all those things for a long, long time, just to let you know. Why would I order that for my store when you've been selling it to the people that matter? Now I'm going to do even more work when I don't even have a.
You can make a retailer, tier on your Kickstarter, your Indiegogo.
I gotta guess. I gotta pay up front for these comic books that I don't. I mean, at least at Diamond, I get a few days before well, that's not true. At least at Lunar, at least at Penguin Random House,
Yeah, but
I
they
got
won't be
90
damaged.
days.
I'm not charging you up front for Kneel Before Doomface, Uel. I didn't.
I
even,
have no
even
problem
set a
doing
rate to
it. I am just joking. I just these are some things.
if it doesn't work out, if Penguin Random House really doesn't want to bring on any smaller publishers, and Lunar can't bring on any smaller publishers, but there's money to be made there, something else will rise up and get indie comic books and these smaller publishers into the direct market when Diamond ultimately fails. And I imagine something will rise before that even happens.
It'll be a boutique distributor, and
Yeah.
it has the potential to be. It's never going to be huge. It's never going to challenge one of those, and I think they'd be stupid to try. But I think they could absolutely do it without.
And you could always
What
just
will probably happen is a smaller publisher that has the chutzpah.
Yeah.
That wants to do it will say, hey, come on over here. We'll take care of you. We'll get this stuff going. And, make sure that their stuff always distributes first.
Or you might end up with one of like the fulfillment services that some of the crowdfunders use. They could make a play for that market.
It possibly. I mean, they're sort of
or you could do the
set up for it.
HH thing and you can go around the circuit and sell your shit city by city. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat.
Sure.
And as long as you don't have to work with Diamond and they don't destroy your comic
for
books, you're probably in good shape.
Boom field offices. The kids. I got some Thundercats for you. Oh, that's Dynamite.
Dynamite, yeah. No, it's funny because
whatever.
We were talking about Boom and the switch to them getting bought out, and it was like, okay, so that LA office is going to go away, right? They're going to be in New York, and sure enough, now there's job postings in New York for Boom Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Are you moving?
never go work for Boom again. I might have to work with some of the assholes that I worked with the first time. I don't know who's still there. I know Ross isn't. I know he had to. It's everybody's dream is to build a company and then sell it. That wasn't your dream. Your dream was to get into Hollywood, and it didn't happen.
Jagron 2. So if Superman would increase his power and had transformations like a Dragon Ball character, would his ultimate form be Superman 1 million Prime Gold?
Maybe.
Yeah, really, maybe.
He does.
He has really developed a lot of powers since the very beginning. I feel like he's at his.
He couldn't fly at the beginning.
Final stage, really.
And different kryptonite gives him different mutations. That's all.
Wouldn't he just be? With the vernacular and the history of American comic books, I don't think we would go a manga route. I think he would just be Superman.
Ooh,
yeah,
Superman.
Superman?
They tried to write this in.
Prime.
Yeah, they tried to write this in that this couldn't happen though. That's how they ended the New 52. Like, oh no, he's absorbing too much power from the sun. He's got these solar flares he can't control.
But in Deceased, he ended up trying to eat the sun and kind of basically became it.
Deceased doesn't count.
Yeah, it's good though. It's one of the few things Tom Taylor's done that's readable.
That don't count.
Agreed.
When you're talking about
what if he
tried
to talk
about Tom Taylor, you're like, oh, I really hate his stuff, but I did like his Deceased, so that's the reason why you can't count it.
I liked his Deceased. There's something else in there that I liked.
Injustice.
I don't really. Injustice is not really my bag.
People are enjoying his detective right now.
Injustice
his detective now is good.
Great. Yeah.
I don't like evil Superman. It's not my bag.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. I don't either. But I thought he did a lot of really good stuff, especially for Injustice.
Well, you sure are lauding an evil Superman a lot for someone who don't like it. You were over here slurping Tom Taylor talking about Injustice Season 2.
No.
Get in the tub, Josh.
Okay.
He gets knocked down, but he gets up again.
Stretch out, man.
Oh, man. Those tub jokes. They're going to get me. I didn't see that one coming.
That's what she said.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. James Hannafin. When the Hush 2 story gets released, I'm going to be torn between Jeff Loeb's brilliant writing and knowing every panel drawn by Jim Lee was him not doing his damn job as a publisher. No hype here.
I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
That is a perspective that you could have, and you could definitely see where it's coming from.
Yeah, let's not forget how many issues of Suicide Squad did he do during Rebirth?
Half?
No, he had a whole run.
No, I think he did like 1.5 issues.
Yeah.
For Suicide Squad? Yeah, I was reviewing the book.
I thought they were he did like half an issue and then someone else did the other half.
He did like, I think it was like
the Terrifics.
No, he did like 18 pages and then there was a 5
but
issue.
Dan Didio was in charge then. Now he's the real boss.
Yeah. Fair.
Jim was really only there to be the face. He wasn't.
Yeah.
The best thing Jim Lee as a publisher can do is leave Diamond and draw comics, and he's finally drawing comics.
Well, it's going to be more even disappointing. It's going to be even more disappointing when you get your hand on this book and it looks like shit because his art is lazy now.
Oh, stop it! It's going to have Scott Williams inking. It will be fixed. And then
Jim Lee did 8 issues. And it
Huh?
wasn't New 52, it was DC Rebirth.
I said Rebirth.
You said New 52.
No,
he did 8 issues.
I said Rebirth.
But supposedly he's been working on this book for over a year. They said he started.
That's how it was for the first one. He's all, this will not come out late. It's going to come out monthly. And it came out monthly.
Are you excited for this, Josh? Are you going to be the
Superman.
first guy in line to get your hands on Hush 2?
Excited, no. Cautiously optimistic, sure.
I got a problem with this, though. What James here says. Jeff Loeb's brilliant writing. Brilliant.
I love me some Jeff Loeb. He's great.
He's done some good stuff.
Really?
Oh, let's not undersell fucking Superman for all seasons, sir.
I'm thinking like a diamond I can barely look at because the light's shining in it, and that's brilliant. Is that Jeff Loeb?
Superman for all seasons.
You
Long
know,
Halloween.
reading a
Long
Jeff
Halloween?
Loeb comic. reading a
The
Jeff
color
Loeb comic
marble
is like-
books.
What was that, Aaron?
I was saying, reading a Jeff Loeb comic is like looking up to the sky and having the heavens part and seeing the face of God and having him say to you, "Truly, thou art my most wondrous creation."
I like it.
Now get
He's
the-
never
That's
written
brilliant.
that. He's never written anything that good.
You don't like the Long Halloween?
Villain of a month.
It's one of the
book?
5
Not
best
really.
Batman
I think
stories
it's
of
a
all
problem
time.
in comics. It was the first problem in comics.
You didn't.
Villain of the month is just lazy writing.
Villain of the month has been the standard
Who was
writing
the
trope for
villain in
years,
Long
decades.
Halloween?
Hmm?
Who's the villain in Long Halloween?
Sophia Falcone or whatever.
And why am I dealing with the Joker one month and Poison Ivy another month and Two-Face another month and all?
'Cause
the
it's
Batman-
He's
Gotham,
fucking
baby.
Batman and he gets no days off, sir.
Yeah,
While that
Gotham.
bullshit's still going,
So-
he's still got to take care of Scarecrow.
What was
What
the
are you
one?
talking
Calendar
about?
Man. Wasn't it Calendar
Yeah.
Man in that?
He's also
Whatever.
part of it. Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Actually,
Villain
made
of the
Calendar
month-
Man interesting.
is what makes comic books amazing. What are you talking about?
No, then Miller did the same thing on that really horrible Spider-Man book. See, everybody likes to either love or hate Miller for the things that he does, but they don't really pay attention to the really bad stuff. And that Spider-Man was a villain of the month thing also.
Yeah, that
And-
was Marvel Knights whenever they were trying to do a Marvel Knights Spider-Man, and that never really worked.
Yeah, I agree.
But it had
I
Dodd's.
agree. And it started off bad.
Are we trying to say that Spider-Man hasn't been a villain of the month book for 60 years? Is that what
No,
we're trying-
sometimes he would actually go out and just beat up normal people and have college or high school adventures.
and you call them villains.
You know,
that month.
Batman would. I was just saying this in the story yesterday. There was a time when Batman just beat up thugs and had to stop a bomb from exploding in a bank or something like that.
Oh yeah,
And
that's the
Joker
villain of the
didn't
month.
show
The
up
villain
every
of the month
freaking
is the
issue.
thugs and the bomb.
And you know what? Two-Face wasn't the next issue, and Penguin wasn't. And then you have your whole gallery within the first 12 issues of a person's run. Oh, they're not going to be here for the 13th issue. That's the reason. Well, not Long Halloween. We know how that went. But
Long Halloween's fantastic.
yeah, I got issues with that. I mean, and I'm right too. You guys.
Nah, you're so far off base.
I'm 100% right.
I enjoy Long
How do you know
Halloween.
a writer isn't going to be around for the 13th issue? He had a Villain of the Month book.
I enjoy Hush and Long Halloween when they're not being interpreted by Tim Sheridan into animation.
Ooh.
Well,
But I do think
Yeah.
Hush is over. I think Hush is overrated as a story.
It is overrated.
Hush was horrible. The villain was introduced in the very first page or something. It was like, what?
Yeah,
This
Hush
isn't
is
going to be the
overrated.
way this really plays out, and it totally was the way it played out.
Well, that was the swerve.
Hush
Is you
is
thought it was
overrated.
too obvious, and then it was
It's
too obvious.
and This is
That's
going to be the thing.
what a twist.
Thank goodness.
But I
Jeff-
don't think
Jim
anyone-
can draw.
Considers Jeff Loeb's Hush to be his best writing. I think it's Superman from All Seasons. It's Batman and Long Halloween, Spider-Man Blue, and I guess if I was going for the other ones, it'd probably be
Daredevil
Hulk Gray.
Yellow.
I thought the Hulk Gray was the good one, but I mean those are all good. But you know he did great stuff.
Unfortunately,
I don't hold ultimatum against him. Batman, Superman, Batman, whichever one it was.
If it wasn't for Ed McGuinness, I wouldn't care as much.
Ed
Yeah.
McGuinness and then Michael Turner.
You got it.
And then Ed McGuinness again.
You got it, baby.
There you
Well,
go.
Hush too
Man,
you know what though? Here's the
James
thing though.
started a fight.
Superman Batman. Here's something I will always say that absolutely sucked. He just for a gag to be funny, he totally nerfed Shiva. What he did to Lady Shiva in that series, no. All
The
those
big
years
scheme
of
of things.
writers building her up, building her up.
She's the baddest ass ever is.
And then,
Yeah.
let's just layering that in, making you wonder, like when the confrontation finally comes between her and Batman, it's going to be insane. And just to do a little M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist. He just had Batman take her out. No problem.
Yeah.
Got no problem with it.
Oh, but she was being mind controlled by Grodd, so she wasn't at her peak. Whatever. It still humiliated the character, made her useless.
Man, it's a lot of freaking Jeff Loeb hate. I don't
Yeah.
get it.
It's really
Not
not
hating. He's
I
written
do
some good
not
stuff.
hate him. I really don't hate him. But when we give these adjectives to people, I just want to, I hear a lot of the legend word gets passed around a lot. And I mean,
Jeff
what
Loeb's
is
the
there of
legend.
legend? You know,
He's written memorable stories with Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Captain America.
yeah, but those are
In the
easy
Ultimates, technically, it's memorable.
rights. Those are hack rights that he did. I mean, he could do anything he want, and he just did those little diaries. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for Tim Sale being on the book, I think a lot of people wouldn't care as much. How about this? Put Howard Porter on those books and tell me how much you like him.
People care
And
more
I'm talking
about
about
Batman
Howard
Hush
Porter
than they
now.
do Long Halloween, and Tim Sale wasn't on the book.
Tim Sale's carrying. He's heavy lifting. And the other half is Batman's villains, you know? And then there's Jeff Loeb.
My goodness.
You got to be real about this.
Why are we
Long
losing
Halloween.
Tim Sale.
Long
Seven-
Halloween would be the
Jeff Loeb
7
like Dan
points
Scott.
to Tim Sale, 3 points to Jeff Loeb.
Listen, Well, I'll tell you what.
Or colorist.
when I
I'm
saw
gonna
that they were
end-
doing the animation for Long Halloween before they ever even announced that that Tim Sheridan was going to be adapting it, which I think I'm right about that. But when I saw the art for it and it wasn't Tim Sale's art, I immediately lost interest. When they did it in a typical DC animated style and they didn't try to capture Tim Sale, I was like, I don't care.
I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna hand for this Loeb hate because Loeb delivered the masterpiece Teen Wolf.
All right.
Damn. And I don't appreciate Loeb being treated like Dan Slott. Dan Slott deserves, the hate and all that stuff, Uel. But
Dan
why are you treating
Slott,
him like a
where
handspring?
I was stupid,
Yeah.
which is better than all the Jeff Loeb put together.
Oh God,
Oh man.
The She-Hulk is
Uel.
better.
Uel.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Sully?
I abstain
It's the
courteously.
Spider-Man Human Torch team-ups.
I
through
like
the years.
Jeff Loeb's a nice guy. I met him at a con a couple of years ago. Actually, the nicest thing was I saw two teenagers and they were gushing at him about Ultimatum. And then you have these young comics fans and this kind of like story that we all like to freaking dogpile on because it's a little mediocre.
Deservedly so, because it's awful.
They liked it, and I'm like,
No one likes cousin
Wow.
fucking in our generation. Too much.
too
When
much.
you go to brother and sister, it's way too much. So are you excited for Dan Slott coming to DC Comics?
Not
The
really.
rumor was out there. He's coming for Superman Unlimited, a new ongoing series.
A new ongoing Superman series? Seriously? We need another one? Whatever.
Superman, absolute Superman in action, and I guess Batman Superman, if you want to consider that a Superman ongoing. That's
Sure.
pretty good, though.
Yeah.
He's
I
not
don't think
moving
we need another
units?
one. I feel like I should be able to sell probably around the same amount of any of those other Superman books I do.
But
I'm
you
not-
don't think the movie's going to draw more people into your shop to look for a new Superman ongoings from Dan Slott?
Is this coming out at the same time? I mean, it's a little ahead of my ordering right now.
When's it coming out? April, May?
I think
Well,
I'm
you guys
only
are good
doing
reviews.
March right now, really.
Ugh.
But
It's gonna be coming around the same time. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, look. Here's the two thoughts.
Mhm.
One, I think it would be funny if, because someone mentioned the Slot is coming earlier in the stream to mimic the Bendis is coming,
sure.
and I kind of wish DC would have been on the joke and done like those Slot is coming ads like they did with Bendis.
I wish I
except
made that
instead
my
of-
thumbnail.
Yeah, but
Mm.
instead of him writing Superman, it should have been Justice League International. Just tell Slott he's writing a serious book, but we all know it's actually a funny book because Slott can't write. That would have been a great 4K chess joke. But we all know that we're really going to get Christos Gage writing Superman, and I'm okay with that.
I'm just amused that anybody thinks why you would give Dan Slott a book called Anything Unlimited when we absolutely know it's a limited series.
Nice. I like
Dan
that.
Slott can get those issues. I mean, well, with Christos Gage's help, he can get those issues out.
Yeah, they just don't sell.
So they just have to want to do it, however long they will.
Yeah, the problem is nobody buys them after they come out.
I really don't hate Dan Slott. This would be, I think him and Jeff Loeb would have a real good fight as far as their stuff that they've done. I think Jeff Loeb gets a lot more love, but hasn't done the day in, day out that a Dan Slott has. And it's a different type of writing. And for the most part, I think he's done an okay job. For the most part. I just don't love his stuff. It's nothing that really, remember this issue that happened? I remember a few Doc Ock stories that were actually memorable and pretty good. And, some of the other things he's done. But his Thing series was excellent, Dan Slott. He could do a good job on Superman. We'll see. Maybe it might be good.
I mean, Spider-Boy's okay, in my humble opinion. If he was able to de-age John back into being a kid and give him that kind of Spider-Boy thing, maybe it could work. But I won't spend money on him. No way, no how.
Well, you got your own personal issues with him.
I
right?
got plenty of issues. That's why I keep him in long boxes, actually short boxes. Thank you very much.
I'm not sticking up for Slott and calling Loeb overrated. All right, I am doing that.
Wow.
Loeb is loved, but I just think that the artists that he worked with really helped save a lot of the stuff that he did.
I could just see it now. Coming soon just for Uel Carter. We got Jeff Loeb with Mark Bagley on art.
Oh, rough.
Dude.
That's rough. Yeah, there you go. It put Mark Bagley on there's so many lovers of his stuff, but I made fun of Howard Porter. I was just trying to get somebody that was kind of like a yeoman working during those times, and that was personal. And I don't think Rob Liefeld's overrated. Do you think he's overrated, Don? Do you know anybody that's like, oh, Liefeld's the best?
I know some people that think that he's the best. I really, really greatly enjoy his work. He is probably one of my top 5 favorite artists, primarily because of the amount of energy and movement and everything. He makes superhero comics feel like superhero comics. Do I think his composition is the greatest thing in the world? Fuck no.
I mean, he has a great sense of motion. You don't know where that motion is taking place because there's never any backgrounds, but
yes. And so look, I really do love his work. Do I think he is the greatest artist in comics or ever? No.
Right.
Do I think he brought a dynamic flair to the work at a time when it really kind of caught on? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when he came on as he talks about how he, New Mutant sales were flagging, and I came on and I revitalized it, and he did with the artwork. I don't think anybody will ever point to any story that he's ever written and say, that really revitalized. That was way better than what Louise Simonson was doing, because it wasn't. He's never really been able to write a story, which is why when he talks about movies and things like that, you kind of go, well,
yeah.
but as far as his artwork goes, and was it exciting when he came on New Mutants, and was X-Force a big deal? Yeah, it absolutely was.
I think a lot of his fans that are so boisterous, they probably wouldn't be able to name a Sean Phillips book, or Brett and Ed Brubaker book, much less like J.H. Williams or something like that. Somebody that I think people would start rating a little bit higher than a Rob Liefeld as far as quality of work.
Yeah.
Well, David Hedgecock, who we've had on the show, big Rob Liefeld fan, and I know he could name all the things that you're mentioning. But yeah, I do think that he's probably an outlier. I mean, he also I also recently saw him saying to Eric Larson that I've been catching up on Savage Dragon and I'm loving it. So his taste is also sus. Love you, David.
Sully's been doing the same thing. Yeah.
I've been.
Oh, you're not reading Savage Dragon? It's crazy right now.
It's crazy. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's over the top.
So you guys already got bored with Dan Slott and moved on to Liefeld again.
Well, I was
what's there to say?
Going to go too deep.
I've been holding in my second pee. Normally I have these things allocated, and I've almost peed myself for the last few weeks. So I was like, I got to let this go. It's too much. At my old age, I ain't got the power anymore.
I mean, talking about Dan Slott is like reading a Dan Slott book. It's just not that interesting.
Spider-Boy hasn't been bad though. Sully knows Spider-Boy's kind of okay right now.
It's intermittently fun.
Yeah.
That's a great full quote.
That's
intermittently fun.
Description I've had.
I hope they can put that on the trade. That would be great.
I hope so too.
That would actually be hilarious.
Do you
Call
think
me, Marvel.
this will go as badly as Bendis? He can't do as much damage as Bendis because he's not writing both the main books.
Well, they're not hyping him up, right?
Yeah.
Not that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I always just get nervous every time I think, well, it can't be as bad as this, right? Because the past 5 years have been that statement, like, regret. Like, just regret of making
Well,
that
yeah.
statement.
Chip
Oh,
Zdarsky can't be as bad as Tom King, and maybe it is worse.
Yeah, and look, here's the deal. Like, sometimes you do get the benefit of a writer coming over and getting, fresh characters to write with, and they kind of have a little bit of a resurgence. We might see that. I'm still sticking to I fully expect Christos Gage is going to come in.
I
and
don't
write,
think he can write 2 books a month. He's still doing
Yeah.
Spider-Boy.
Yeah, like
Way.
I'm cool if Christos comes in and writes some Superman. I think it'll be halfway decent. So
but my point is always like, why don't you just hire Christos?
agreed. I agree.
From the man that wrote Daredevil on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, stop making
Good
him
there.
second fiddle to a guy who tweeted out to Netflix, "I'm going to be in town. I created the Spider-Verse. If anybody wants to take a meeting."
Because
Yeah.
By
Dan
the way-
Slott's the good-looking guy. That's why.
Oh God.
you got
Oh,
the-
he can't be
Let's-
good. Like, yeah, I will tell
the
you. I'll tell
face
you a
for
story.
radio.
He's the
When,
face between the two.
I can't remember who did the video, but when they humiliated him on that Marvel show on Disney Plus,
Mm.
and he was walking
on
around
board.
on there, a friend of mine came over and she looked at the TV and she's like, "Oh, who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a comic book writer." And she goes, "He looks like a human skin tag."
He kind of does.
I was like,
At least she didn't say, "What is that?"
Yeah.
She acknowledged he was human.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't take away his humanity.
Yeah. I'm not excited. I don't think. And why is it Superman Unlimited instead of the Adventures of Superman? That's the
Well,
traditional.
they got Justice League Unlimited, right?
What is
So
it
maybe
only
they're
going to
just-
be about him being on the Justice League? I don't want more of
know.
that shit.
I was just trying to get a little
Just title conventions,
synergy
man.
within the titles or something.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're like, hey, the 1-2 punch of the most
Instead of
handsome men
using
in
the
comics,
traditional
Mark
third
Waid
Superman
and
title,
Todd
Adventures of
Slott.
Superman.
Yeah. Change his name to
They could have
Handsome
had
Comics.
Superman Unlimited, the Book of L, instead of Adventures of Superman, Book of L, which is a miniseries. It doesn't even make sense to me. Although having something called Unlimited and being a miniseries, it could be fortuitous. Who knows?
I'm excited to go down the mountain and go to a comic book store and pick up Green Lantern this week.
Fractured Spectrum is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Ken knocked it out the park. It's the first time Sorrow has looked good. And I like Montos as an artist, but he upped the ante on that character and actually makes him look formidable.
Did you see the
Put it out.
controversy that someone is saying that like they have a character named Sorrow who looks very similar that was published like years ago? And
Somebody sent me an email about that, but I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't look very much into it, but I probably should.
Get
I mean, I don't think.
litigious.
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, Sorrow Lantern is. It obviously makes sense to shorten the name to Sorrow, and if you're going to make somebody sad, like they kind of look probably ghostly, and I think it's just one of those things where it's like coincidence. I don't think Jeremy Adams is the kind of person to like bite off anybody's ideas.
No, me neither.
I don't think it's
That
quite
was
as
fair.
egregious as putting out a book called Punchline when Bill Williams already has a book called Punchline out on the market, and just being like, well, what's he going to do? Sue us? We're Warner Brothers. We have plenty of money. Oh, wait, what?
Well, everybody's done with Slott. Let's talk about the other stuff. Kalichioki says, Sully, I'm so sorry for the shit we give you. It's Yule with the most retarded takes.
I've been reading comics a long time. I've suffered through a lot of stuff.
Suffered through a lot of events.
Is that your
A lot.
explanation for your Jeff Loeb hate? That was some sus
I've
game
read a
shit
lot
right
of
there.
comics. I'm not talking up Brian Azzarello. I mean,
We give Yule a
I'm not
pass
overrated.
because he's often under the influence.
that's
Um,
I haven't
But,
had enough.
Sully,
coffee
I'm not
either.
sorry for the crap that we give you.
What's
That-
You
wait,
said Jeff
fine.
Landshark was
Were we
must
giving him
read.
crap?
Did I like Alligator Loki this month? What? Did
Exactly.
I get the red band of that? No.
Red Band Alligator Loki?
Yeah.
Holy cow! They need
So
to start doing all ages comics and then the red band editions.
Yes,
Holy
exactly.
cow!
Alyssa Wong,
So-
I know you hate me, but sign my funny book.
When Jim and I do the Hot or Not podcast, we have a little segment that Sully probably doesn't even know about, where we get Sully's takes, and Sully like does book reports to Jim on what he thinks about this week's comic books, because Jim sends him review copies, since he's got a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. And Sully's like, ASM.des this week was fucking fire. And I was like, God,
That's not an exact
I
quote.
cannot fix this guy. It was so bad. It was one of the worst comics I've read.
Wally would have said "wicked pisser."
I didn't mind it. I'm not minding the ASM as much as you guys do.
Oh, Sully. That was my number one for the worst title of 2024. Like, it's absolute shit. It has been utter shit for a while.
Yeah, and it hasn't gotten better with 8 deaths, and it got worse with the .deaths episode. And Sully was like, "Oh, that was a wicked pisser."
Doing the art on that. It was so good. Hey, can you do me a favor, Wes? Can you make me single on the screen with this super chat?
I absolutely can.
I just needed a
screenshot
of that. All right, thank you very much. Done.
There you go.
That was great.
Perfect. Mr. DC Comics.
These clips.
I'm not excited for all these Marvel reject writers walking into DC and getting a front row seat to all the DC A-list heroes. Where is the new talent? That's the big question. I'd rather see Tony Fleecs on a new Superman book. I'd rather see frickin' Ryan Parrott on a new Superman book. I'd actually like to see somebody that might actually be good in the future. That'd be one of them.
We are
guess
getting
what?
them, aren't we? Isn't Tony going over to Marvel and doing that thing book or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
But here's the thing:
Superman's
you
bigger.
give Tony a thing book, and maybe he pitched that, and maybe that was like he's like, yeah, I'd really like to do the thing. Maybe that's the case. But you give Tony a thing book, but then any lesbian that writes poetry out of a rec center, you come and you give them a new #1 and do a bunch of hype, and it's like, and Tony Fleecs doesn't get that same treatment. He doesn't get that same hype. He's had successful books out there. Everybody loves Stray, and everybody loves like the stuff that he's working on. Feral. I'm sorry. It's Stray Dogs, right?
No, Stray Dogs, Feral, and Canny Valley.
Stray Dogs, Feral. Yep. Okay.
But
So
Canny Valley's
conflating
great.
his. Yeah. But yeah, it's like he's doing killer work, and you put him on a thing book and you don't hype him at all.
Hey, guess what? Guess what? DC's doing its DC thing again, where all they had to do was not fuck up, and now they're just turning around and aiming the gun right at their dick by just taking Marvel's leftovers again. Right when they're actually kind of trending in the right direction, they're starting to take Marvel sloppy seconds and gonna fuck themselves up again. And I love it. I love seeing DC not being able to get out of its own fucking way and stop repeating the exact same shit that hasn't worked for the 4,000th time since the 1960s.
Are you going to come over and read Superman Unlimited now that we've stolen a Marvel
Fuck
superstar
no!
artist?
We look. I don't make the mistake of following the retards over whenever DC picks them up.
All right, there we go. We feel your pain, Mr. DC Comics. I'm not a primarily DC viewer, but I'm a bigger fan of DC than Marvel. It does break my heart every time.
There's
but
some great stuff, though.
Have Green Lantern coming up. Aquaman was fun. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for a lot of stuff over at DC. We'll see what happens with Push 2. New Gods has been pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
DC's still hotter than Marvel.
I think, isn't Tony actually doing something for DC? Isn't he doing look, I think it's a Super Pets, but I can't remember if it was like a one-shot thing or a series.
He used to be a My Little Pony artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be perfect for him, the DC Super Pets.
If he's drawing it, yeah.
Yeah.
But he could write it too. But what I'm saying is that I think that he's got better chops than that. Like,
agreed.
You don't have to just give him the kiddie books, give him a chance at something, and put the same kind of, hype behind him, a guy who has a measurable level of success. I'm just asking you, put the same amount of hype for him as you for, just some lesbian that you hired from a bookstore.
Agreed.
Who's never written a thing and has no proven track record.
All right, fellas, let's talk about our favorite Hulk stories, because everyone's already off the Dan Slott bandwagon at DC. That didn't last very long. And I'm going to go first. And, this is the wipe the taste of Uel's really shitty fucking Jeff Loeb takes. I'm going Hulk Gray. Absolutely fantastic story.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with the character, if you're not familiar with the origins of the character, really great retelling. You get some Rick Jones in there. Awesome stuff going on Hulk Gray. Fucking love that story. And Uel is out of his mind for talking crap on Jeff Loeb today. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. I'm indignant.
Indignant.
That's what I am. What's your favorite Hulk story, Josh?
Look, I'm gonna second Hulk Gray. I think it's really good. I'm not the biggest Marvel guy, so I'm kind of like the basic bitch answers. Like World War Hulk, I really enjoyed, and then Peter David's run. Other than that, I read some of Al Ewing's run, and I thought it was pretty good. But I'm not the biggest Marvel guy, so that's
your favorite though. You can't take all the good Hulk stories.
No,
the 3 of the 10 best.
He said Gray. He put Gray at the top of the list.
Yeah,
I took Gray. I already took
it's
it.
more. No,
Well,
I know,
you can't knock Josh out of the box because he has the same favorite.
You're out of here, Josh.
It goes more of a
Hulk.
Yeah, I'll go with World War. It's the one good thing that what's his tits did. Yeah,
Greg Pak.
Yeah, that guy.
It's because it was Mark Panicia's idea,
right?
And he was the editor.
You know, Sully's going to come up with some like out of the left field bullshit on this one, aren't you?
Maybe. Mine. I've never been historically a Hulk reader, and this is the first time in my life that I've been a monthly Hulk reader. So for the past 2 years, Philip Kennedy Johnson has regaled me with these awesome monster stories. And I have just loved Nick Klein's artwork. It is such a visceral experience. You know, reading this book, it's a loud book. It really is. It's all about splat. It's all about crunch, thump, whack. It's just, it's
all about onomatopoeia.
I love it. And I've really warmed up to Danny Earls. It wasn't my favorite when we started, but I've grown to really appreciate him. And it's kind of like a baseball team. You have an ace, you have a starting pitcher, but you need a solid number 2 pitcher and a 3 pitcher. You know, so Danny Earls is a really strong number 2 pitcher on the mound. And it's for the past 2 years, I've really enjoyed this, and I look forward to it. And like this week, we got issue number 21. And at my new comic book shop, I get the choice of a variant copy now. And I got the silly, Fantastic Four tribute variant copy. But you know what? That's fun. And so this is a really fun book. So my vote is for Philip Kennedy Johnson.
How can you be a Marvel zombie and not be a Hulk fan? It's either he or Wolverine that's the number 2 A-lister at Marvel.
Well, I was a
can't read
kid.
DC and be a Marvel zombie.
Well, I was a kid in the Bronze Age, so I love the Sal Buscemo look. That's like my favorite Hulk look. Then I like Dale Keown, but I'm loving the Nick Klein Hulk look, and especially the transformation coming from inside of Bruce Banner, literally ripping out of his mouth and shedding the skin. And there is the Green Goliath. What a fun book. It's fun to be a Hulk fan right now.
Very nice.
But how does Bruce Banner get his skin back?
He shrinks. He shrinks back down to Hulk. Yeah.
It's like a metamorphosis.
I like the idea that he has to go find his desiccated skin and pull it back on, shrink back into it. And it's not fitting right. It's like Edgar from Men in Black.
Sparrow, what's your favorite Hulk story?
I'm gonna go World War Hulk into Planet Hulk. If you go through your Planet Hulk issues, you will actually find in like 3 or 4, there's actually a letter from me where I actually wrote in and said that how much I was loving the book. That moment in Planet Hulk where he faces off with Black Bolt on the moon, which later turned out to be a Skrull, but where he faces off and Black Bolt whispers and he thinks the Hulk's taken out and he's walking away. And then from out of the smoke, you hear, I didn't come to hear you whisper, and you turn the page and Hulk's jumping at him like full force. It's great. John Romita Jr., when he was still firing on all cylinders, coming down at Black Bolt, and he's like, I came to hear you scream. And I was just like, yep, this is comics. I'm in. Love it.
It's a good shit. Splash pages. Back when they used to know how to do them.
Yep. Back when it wasn't,
nice.
Look, a splash page and they're eating.
Man, I can't believe that Uel is being so indifferent to this. I thought that would have got him all hyped up, but he's not even excited for I don't want to hear you whisper. What's your favorite Hulk story, Uel? If he's got something better.
I always have something better. There's a lot of people saying very good things in chat. And of course, there's Peter David and
Yeah.
Bill Mantlo when he was trapped in space and all this other stuff. There were some really good miniseries. There was one called Banner with art by Richard Corbin. But the one I'm
Is that the
picking
Garth Ennis one?
is it Ennis that wrote that one? I can't
I
remember.
think so.
Okay. But this one issue is the one I'm choosing. This is not the original. I have it in a box back here. This is the True Believers $1 line that they were doing. This is Hulk 234. It introduces one of Marvel's lame characters, Quasar. There's the issue right there. And it's really cool if you like the Philip Kennedy Johnson stuff now. Hey, look, he's got a damaged friend who's a female hanging around him. And this is all Roger Stern, Sal Buscema. Good Hulk.
What's your problem with Quasar?
Oh, please.
That was
Please.
legitimate
Oh, I
question.
don't know. Tell me what Jeff Loeb issue of Quasar did he do? Did he do Quasar lame? Is that what it would be called?
I don't think he did.
What color
Quasar.
was lame? I don't know.
I like cosmic weird characters that are strange.
I love saying something bad about a Quasar character. Well, next I'll do Nova, and then I love Nova. Of course you love Nova.
I don't particularly like Nova personally, but
How do you think I feel when you diss on Jeff? Come on, man.
yeah, I'm still upset about this. Doc, do you have a favorite Hulk story?
I have a couple. I really loved Bruce Jones's Return of the Monster.
Mhm.
And the issues that followed that. I liked a lot of the Peter David stuff leading up to 377, where with Dale Keown's art on it, with where he was really struggling with the different personalities. And the Gray Hulk would sometimes come out, Joe Fixit or the Green Hulk, and then the Banner personality, and all of them kind of working together and working against each other, and all the stuff with the therapy sessions with Doc Samson that eventually and there was one issue, I think it was 376, where it was Hulk, the Green Hulk, and versus the Gray Hulk and Banner, and like it's literally like a very Fight Club-esque vibe where like one arm is turning gray, one arm is turning green, and he's punching Banner in the face. It had a lot of body horror to it, but it was this kind of almost in the flashbacks with Ed Norton just punching himself in Fight Club. That's kind of the vibe it gave. I love that particular issue. He ends up with Banner ends up with a fucking fractured skull from getting punched in the face by himself. And so I really, really enjoyed that. And I loved the Peter David era where he was Joe Fixit and running around Vegas.
Absolutely. And I will throw another honorable mention on there. The Maestro 3 miniseries that they did with Peter David with Herman Peralta was really, really awesome follow-up to an awesome idea.
In that case, I also have to add the 2-issue Future Imperfect.
Absolutely. I'm shocked you didn't say Hulk the Id. I thought that was your favorite, Doc.
My honorable mention is Jesse Blaze Snyder, and he's got this great Hulk moment where he beats Thor by grabbing Thor's forearm and smashing Thor into the face with his own hand and Mjolnir. And it was just like, oh wow, that's sick.
Very nice.
I'm kind of upset that we didn't mention, because I forgot this, but it's probably the best Hulk story that's out there. Old Man Logan, because nothing beats backwoods inbred Hulks. Come on.
Where Bruce and Jen had a bunch of fucking babies.
Yeah.
And redneck Hulks flying around in the Fantastic Car.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Absolutely. That's the good shit there, folks. Now let's get to our current comic book recommendations as we wrap this bad boy up. We got the Chiefs game coming up. I'm very excited about this. Gonna have a good time. Watch me some football. But before then, let's talk about the best comic books of the week. It seems like Sully cannot be contained. What are you
Nope.
recommending this week, brother?
You can only hope to contain me. That's right. And my enthusiasm and my optimism about funny books. And I go to my local comic book shop every week. I pick up my pull list. I peruse the shelves. And I like spending money there because that's how we're going to save comic books. Show up to your local comic book shop. Spend some money. Buy your supplies there while you're at it too. Get your bags. Get your boards. Get your boxes at your local funny book bodega, your local comic book shop. I got 4 titles this week. I spoiled one already. I got this week's Incredible Hulk number 21, art by Danny Earls. Really good. I love this story as I was just raving about it. Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum number 1, awesome art by V.K. Marion. I mean, I'm loving like the little things. I like how Hal Jordan lost the design on the shoulders and it went back to that Silver Age kind of look to his costume, and this has got great art. It's a good story, really good Guy Gardner's story smuggled in there too. I've got G.I. Joe Energon Universe number 3. It's pretty good, you know. It's just it's just fight scene after fight scene, and Clutch is undercover. And my pick this week though is New Gods number 2 by Ram V and art by Evan Cagle. There is, yeah, as Wes said, there are 4 pages in the beginning, this dream sequence that Aizawa Highfather is having. But I love, at first, I read it twice, and at first read, I thought it was just a bit too talky. Like there's so much story in there. There's so many just like narrative captions. But you know what? I mean, just the art's really killer. I mean, there was a point where I thought that Big Barda was a little bit too thick, but she is Big.
Well, you don't
Barda.
like thighs?
I mean, thick thighs save lives. I know. And
I thought she was well proportioned.
But, you know, I got over that pretty quickly. I wouldn't say no. And it's a good story. And there are a lot of mythological story beats in here, too, between like Greek mythology and Indian mythology, too. And Ram V is from India. And great book. And once again, thank you so much, everyone out there and everyone in the chat. Keep it going. And let us know.
You're not going to mention ASM.deaths that you love so much this week?
It's not a direct quote. I mean, seriously. I said, and you didn't mention like the 8 restaurants of Jackpot and Black Cat. That's going to be the next spin-off, tie-in series.
I have the quote here. Sully said, ASM 8 Deaths is the greatest comic book that has ever been produced, and it will never be topped in in human history. Wow, that's a bold statement, Sully.
Dude,
Landy.
Awesome.
Derek Landy and Kev Walker. It wasn't even
like
good by
Kev
Kev Walker's. I do too, but it wasn't even good by his standards. But there was no real.
I thought it was very
involved.
interesting and different than he normally does, but I liked it still. I thought it was really well done.
Thank you.
But he had to work within the confines of the story that he was given, which didn't have a whole lot to it. It was mostly a Coulson story. It's weird. But nice to see that you read it. Are you recommending ASM then, Sully? How am I forgetting names now?
Uel.
I'm so old. Uel.
That's Mr. Carter.
Mr.
Master
Carter.
Carter.
Master Carter. No.
Call me daddy. I actually didn't read anything that was new this week, but of course I sold out of Ultimate Wolverine, so that's top on the list. But there was a trade that came out. You should all pick up Kneel Before Zod, Joe Casey, Dan McDade. It's very good, and Uel 9's in it. We need a Punchbot versus Uel 9 issue. And next week, there's a trade paperback coming out you have to get called Books of Doom by Ed Brubaker, and I think it's Pablo Raimondi.
Oh, Doc loves that one.
I love that
great one.
series.
I don't have a lot of space in my store, and I ordered a lot for my store, and I was like, oh man, I really wanted to get this in because it's been out of print for a while. Ooh, baby, you got to get that one. And if you think that one's good, I definitely recommend checking out this week's Kneel Before Zod.
Very, very nice. Anything else going on in Fantastic Comics, whether it be the comic book store or the YouTube channel or the e-retailer commerce site?
I think the YouTube channel is probably the biggest thing. I talked about Neil Gaiman and Diamond, and of course didn't name my episode Neil Diamond. Duh. Oh,
Neil
But-
before Diamond is what it should have been.
Well,
man.
there's a lot of the things I should have done. I just went for Neil and Bob.
Aw.
That's it. That's it. You'll fantastic.
Very
Comics.
nice. Appreciate that. And keep in mind, people, if you ever need a cover and you just can't get your hands on it, you can reach out to Uel, and he is fantastic at responding on Twitter. I'm sure he's got Blue Sky and all that stuff, and he will get you your fucking cover. He is the man for that shit.
Or just watch my show and then leave a comment.
You could do it there too. There's
How
so
do
many
you
ways to do it.
how do you get an invite to Blue Sky? Do you have to be on the Megan's Watch?
You don't have to do
Megan's
it
Watch
anymore. They ended that a while ago.
You have to be on the sex offender
Registry.
registry, or do they just? I blew that. I'm sorry. I messed that all up.
I blue skied that.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
blue skied it.
Yep.
You queefed it out. Very nice. Aaron, are you going to recommend any new comic books? It sounds like you're secluded in the cabin.
I am secluded. I have not had a chance to go to the comic.
I sent you a copy of Ultimate Wolverine.
Yes, I have not read it yet. I've got to check
Good
it
thing
out.
we never made that topic. No one read it but me.
I know. Well,
I
Jim said
read
it was
it.
terrible, so I was like, why am I going to waste? My
Oh, you
time?
read it. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, like, what's Josh the Chop Liver? Come on. So you know what I will do? I will use my time to recommend Black and White 3, Sins of the Father, on Indiegogo right now. You can still get that book, Art to Bear. It is the third volume of his Black and White series, co-written by me this time. And so we tried to really delve into the characters and all the things that he's established in the first two books, and really like build a story that's going to be compelling and interesting. So I hope that you guys check that out. And just to let you know, haven't had any activity on Kneel Before Doomface in a couple days as far as any new pledges or anything. So if you guys haven't pledged, please consider doing so. I'm going to deliver a great book for you. Renzo is doing the best work of his career. Oscar is coloring like a madman. Every page, I mean, it kind of kills me because I want to show you guys every single page. Every time something comes in, I want to put the whole thing up, but then you get the thing of like, well, I'm going to end up like ruining things if I keep showing stuff off. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But or if you have any friends who might be interested, please pass along the word. Your guys' word of mouth has made that book a success, and I can't wait to get it all into your hands. And I'm already like up on book 4 script wise. So
Goodness, you're really getting into that. That's some foreplay.
yeah, man, you gotta. I mean, I'm not like Drew where he's like, here's the first issue script, and you're like, cool, and you start to read it, and he goes, and I'm already on 12, and you're like, what?
Laying it out there. Very nice. Josh, are you recommending new comic books this week?
I am.
DC kind of had a nice week, be honest.
DC, yeah, look, DC had a nice week. So Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum, really good. Go pick it up. I would even say Batman and Robin Year One, not bad. I do like some other like old school kind of Robin stories. Like Robin Year One's better. Dark Victory, I think, is better in some ways, but it's
Robin
still a
and
solid
Batman?
book.
Great art.
Yeah, it is good art. It's Sam Nee, right? That's on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Sam
great
Nee's
art.
nailed it.
It's got a fun nostalgic throwback feel, and that's what I enjoy about it. What else came out this week? G.I. Joe, definitely. I still think Energon's a lot of fun. And I think
Nightwing,
Joshua
Titans,
Williamson's. I haven't read Nightwing and Titans yet, so apologies.
Jenny Sparks.
But fuck that book.
I like
But I
that
will
one,
say,
though.
despite me I can't stand the guy, but David Peppo's Space Ghost is actually pretty damn good.
You finally checked it out?
I finally checked it out. Yeah, so
It's fantastic, isn't it?
it's a good book.
If you like
So
Batman
if
and
you-
Robin, you'll love Space Ghost.
Yeah. If you're like me and you haven't been reading that book because you don't like David Peppo's because of something we've said or other books you've read of his or whatever, just go read that book. It's a damn good book.
It looks good too. Jonathan Lau.
Dude, I'm just waiting for him to like get on like Superman or Batman or something. Just
Yeah. That's a fun
Hopefully
book.
with a
That
good
one's
writer.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything people should be looking out for on Popeye culture there?
yeah, we got
I
a
know
lot
you got
of
a lot of
stuff coming.
shows that you never invite me to come and participate on.
Well, aren't you usually sleeping at that time?
Details.
I
can't work
I
around
can-
my schedule here. I'm a commodity.
I know so I'm typically pulling 6-day weeks right now, so it makes me limited in terms of free time earlier. but that should be changing hopefully soon. Coming up this Tuesday, we have an episode of Culture Pop. That's just our pop culture commentary show. We'll be talking about the Daredevil trailer. I'm sure we'll dip into Gaiman for a little bit. We'll talk about Diamond. The week after that, we have our book club episode, and we're discussing Saga of the Swamp Thing, Book 1 by Alan Moore. So I'm super excited to jump into that. And
Awesome.
it just
Best
That's some good
illustrated
shit.
comic book of all time. Great.
oh yeah, I'm
it.
stoked. And then that
Yeah,
loser
even the
Maxfield, Maxfield Von Priestley hasn't read it yet. So
He's
we
such
gotta
a child. That's
we've
why.
gotta I know we've got to educate
He's a
him.
baby.
So
My third favorite comic book story ever.
there
It's
we
a
go.
good-
I'm,
Best DC story ever.
I'm
So
clipping
good.
that and sending it to him.
Boy, that's
That he's a baby. He's just a
he's
baby.
so lucky
He's
because he
just
gets
a
to experience
baby.
it for the first time.
I know, lucky bastard.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is lucky. You're right.
Yeah.
that's the way
Oh,
to do
so
it.
good.
Got to get the absolute edition. Like they're so expensive and they're so
Dude.
enormous. But if I get an absolute edition, it's gonna
That would be worth it. Yeah, completely worth it.
They're
And
mossy too.
The
You know
the
that.
mossy cover and the colors in it are the interior colors are a little different. Oh, it's so
Mhm.
nice. So
I
nice.
should have got it. I'm such an idiot.
All right. Last but not least, we do have Doc in the house. Are you going to recommend any comic books? We did read Jenny Sparks. We'll review it tomorrow.
Yes, I am absolutely not reading that unless you really, really, really feel the need to read about Tom King's COVID hysteria
Yeah.
in the year of our Lord 2025.
right.
So instead of that, I am going to you'll appreciate it. Books of Doom. I am going to second your recommendation. Go pick up the trade that's coming out. This book is so fucking good.
So good.
It really is. This, and they did an Emperor Doom series around the same time, but that was only 3 issues. This was 6 issues. I like this one more. The Emperor Doom one is still also really good. So if you can find those, that's great too. But yes, I think this might have been the first Brubaker work at Marvel.
I can't
I-
remember, but it may have
He had come over from Wildstorm
been. Uh-huh.
before, right around this time, and I think this was his first work. And then shortly after is when he took on Captain America.
Greatest cow.
I think he was still doing Authority Revolution when this was coming out. So yes, go check this out. Pick up the trade if it's out, or go buy the singles. They're really good. Then we will go with, I love this. It was this 3-issue crossover across the Superman books. This one's the Adventures of Superman issue. It was a world without Superman, a world with Majestic, and where they end up swapping universes. Really good story. Carl Kessel artwork.
Like Dan Abnett writing.
Yeah, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. When they were still writing together all the time. That was the best form of those two. Unlike, say, who are the fucking
Lansing and Kelly.
Yeah, Lansing and Kelly. These were an actual great writing duo. Those two are a bunch of incompetent buffoons.
When you say DNA and comics, I think of those two and not the
Exactly.
artist, the cover artist. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. Every time I see DNA, I'm like, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning are coming back or back together. Oh, no, you just mean the artist that does variant covers.
Why did they split up? Are they like Hall and Oates or something?
Like
I don't
Opie and Anthony.
I don't know. I think that they just wanted to do more solo work. I don't know. Or to prove something that they could write individually and they didn't need to
I
be
got these Warhammer 40K books to write.
Yeah. So this 3-issue, this is, I think, Adventures of Superman 624. And it was Superman like 203 or something like that. And Action Comics like 811. But yeah, go pick these up. They're really cheap. It's a good, fun story. Superman, Majestic, the Eradicator. So yeah. Then, as I was talking about earlier, Incredible Hulk 376. I love this issue. The Green Hulk had been only back for a couple issues, and he had broken through in Bruce's psyche, and now they were. And then the next issue is 377 with that iconic neon green cover with the black silhouette Hulk, where it's the first appearance of the Professor Hulk that Mark Ruffalo ruined in the movies.
Spoilers. What are you doing to me, Doc?
Oh yeah, I'm going to spoil a comic from 35 years ago.
Jeez, we're trying to get them to read it now.
Yeah.
But no, like this is what leads to Bruce and the Hulks having the issues.
And Peter David gets nothing for it.
I know. Then
But
this is just a
cover.
classic.
Is that Mike Zeck?
Mike Zeck cover, Captain America Annual number 8, Wolverine versus Captain America. I think this might have been their first interaction. Possibly. I'm not certain. But again, another classic cover, key book. Go see if you can find a copy. It's beautifully rendered, beautifully illustrated, good fun story. Back when the annuals actually mattered. And then finally, Uncanny X-Men Annual number 14, the actual first appearance of Gambit. Because this book came out a week before Uncanny X-Men 266. Although storyline-wise, it takes place after that because he's just kind of hanging around in the background with Storm and the X-Men. So it happens before 270 happens before 270 but after 266. So and this was part of that Days of Future Present thing that with Ahab and the Hounds, and hey look, it's Franklin and Rachel. Well, actually that's there when they still and they had a kid in the future that is super powerful, and Rachel's not a lesbian. So yeah, good book, go pick it up. Wildly undervalued in my opinion. So those are my recommendations for this week.
Very nice. I recommend everybody tune into the Cheesecake and support our hopeful future champions. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Get your comics in, get your geek on, and then support the good guys in the playoffs this weekend. Really enjoyed everybody. Have fun, and we'll see you next weekend.